Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 15th, 2026 Select Board meeting. We call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by WACA-TV and live streamed on YouTube. Remote participation is available using the Zoom video conferencing platform. Any disruption with the video conferencing platform will result in the platform being shut down. In the event of a disruption, broadcasting will continue on WACA-TV and live streamed on YouTube. So tonight, our first order of business is citizens' participation. We have some folks here in the room and folks online. If there's anybody here that wants to speak online, please go ahead and use the raise hand function, and we'll recognize you and let you speak. Looks like there's one person waiting to get in.
They might be here for items later in the agenda, right? I look at Steve Greenberg and
okay.
Michael.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So I'm not seeing anybody here for citizens' participation. So we will move on to old new business. The first item is to discuss the creation of a permit reactivation fee to the inspection fee schedule. And I know we had document in our packet, and I'll turn it over to Assistant Town Manager Beth Reynolds to take us through it.
Great, thank you so much. So Doug Scott, our building commissioner, is here with us tonight, and he can answer any questions you may have. I'm going to give you just kind of a brief overview of what we're looking to do in the building department. So since we've implemented OpenGov, which is our new permitting platform, which is great, we're working out the kinks, and it's starting to flow a little bit better with all of our departments. We think it's going to be a great tool. When you change over to new products, you do find a few things that need a little look back. And with this situation, it's a few open permits in the system. And when I say a few, it's thousands of open permits. So these are permits that were opened up, they did the work, and the final inspection might not have been done. The contractors might not have followed through to the nth degree to close it out. And so our team with this new system is really trying to clean this up. And we also want to hold people accountable to finish the work, to have it inspected properly. And it makes it easier for the homeowner as well. So it's property sales that basically trigger these reviews of any open permits. They come in, they need the sign off from the building department, and that can often lead to a lot of work on our team's part. So the electrical inspector, plumbing inspectors might have to go out, do the inspections. Oftentimes it can be a burden on the homeowner as well, that they might have to tear down a wall to have it inspected properly. So we want to make sure that it's just an effective permitting process for our residents and our team as well. So basically what happens is, the town will incur these additional costs for these inspections. Our inspectors are paid per inspection. I think that's important to know as well. And then building and permits generally expire 180 days if the work is abandoned or suspended. And this is consistent with our building requirements. So we've done a little research. Doug did a little digging and looked at our neighboring communities and what they do as well. And we've come up with this permit reactivation fee. So the solution will be to implement a $50 inspection fee to close these long outstanding open permits. It will require a new permit only when work is performed without the necessary permit. So if something's wrong, they have to fix it and make that right. It's going to encourage our property owners to have the original contractor schedule the final inspection whenever possible, and then correct any code deficiencies before the permit can be finalized and closed. So we're hoping, again, it improves accountability for the permit holders and the contractors. It encourages timely completion of final inspections. It reduces the backlog of open permits. It improves the accuracy of our town records. So we're really trying to tighten everything up. And that is it. This would be added to the fee schedule that's currently on, in our building fees. So it's really light lifting. That's sort of that's the gist of it. So if you have any questions, I'm sure Doug can help answer too.
Okay, thanks.
I'm just curious, what constitutes a long outstanding?
Put the mic on. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So in the, with building permits, again, it's 180 days. They expire, that's state law. And that is if you're not, haven't started work, or if you've done work and you haven't closed it out. And electrical permits, it's 1 year. So if they start the work, they don't get inspections, and they don't close it out. With the electrical inspections, they have to apply for a new permit.
I was going to say, would they have to apply no
Well,
matter
so-
what for?
So I tried to strike a middle ground. I spoke with the building commissioners in Holliston, Hopkinton, Westboro, and Southboro. And this is a big issue with every community. And because so many houses are being sold and the turnover of buildings and everything is so rampant now that every day we get an email or a public records request or a request from somebody to close out open permits because the lawyers are starting to understand, I best do my job when I represent my client. This is a middle ground in that, I didn't want something that was to be onerous for anybody. It's a way to get the contractors, we've tried many, my inspectors and I have tried many different ways to get the contractors to do what they're supposed to do. The only thing they seem to understand is money. It costs the town a lot more than $50 to do this because Roe has to do research. We have to research and look through the files and find out what's going on and double check to see if any inspections were done. And then, typically when it concerns the sale of a house or a building, I've got 2 attorneys involved, the owner of the building, the buyer of the building, and all 4 of them are calling us or emailing us for the exact same reason. How do I close out these permits? So we have to deal with them on a this is a constant basis. It's become a big chunk of what Roe has to take care of, and my especially my plumbing and electrical inspectors.
So what's the initial cost for a permit?
Well, it depends upon the scope of the permit and what the dollar value is. So it could range from $75 to, we just had somebody come in and they paid a $3,045 permit fee. But you think that's a lot of money.
It is.
But, in the scheme of things, it's really not. Because we've got me, I have a new building inspector, full-time. I've got Roe, I've got 2 part-time inspectors. I've got the weights and measure inspector. And then, all the supplies and everything else, the computer system. We've got a brand new OpenGov system. That's $64,000 a year.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? So you told us you just did one for $3,000.
Yeah.
How many inspections would be associated with a project that size? Because that's obviously a larger size project, either a new home or a very
Yeah.
large addition. How many inspections
could
would be
be,
associated with a project like that?
That could be 12 to 15 inspections.
Okay. So,
Will OpenGov help keep everything?
Yes, so that's one of the things. So I'm implementing some changes in how we've done things. One of them is we're going to do a monthly download. Ro's going to do a download of where we're at with the permits and everything. This actually started probably about 4 or 5 months ago when one of our local contracting companies, mechanical companies, was sold. And the new buyer emailed Roe and said, hey, are there any open permits that I should be aware of? And within a 12-month period. And we found 120 open permits.
Oh, my
That they
goodness.
had never bothered to close just in a 12-month period.
So to that point, is this fee intended to be retroactive to anything
No,
that
no,
is
no, no,
currently?
no.
So it'll
No,
be
no,
going
no.
forward?
Yeah.
And so people would
yeah.
know
So,
beforehand that they
yeah,
needed to?
again, this isn't to punish people. Make it really clear. This
But
isn't to punish people.
going forward, if I have an open permit and I need to get some work done, or I go to sell my house, you're gonna charge $50 to close it out.
Yeah,
If it falls into that
yeah, it
long
falls into that
outstanding.
category.
Right.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
we think that $50 is enough?
Well,
That was my question,
Is there,
because you,
my question is,
I'll
is there, is it,
is that
is
enough of
there
a
any
deterrent?
way to either, one, make it related to the size of the original permit?
no,
Or is that gonna be too much
yeah,
work,
I-
or, you know?
Listen,
What did you find out in the other communities?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
one of the communities is if there are expired permits, you have to apply for a new permit and you got to pay that permit fee
Again,
again.
okay,
One of them is if you go and apply for a permit and it's not been, closed out, and you have to go through the process of trying to close it out and it's all expired, then you have to hire a registered architect or engineer to inspect the work, to certify that it's safe. They put their stamp on a letter, and you pay the $50 fee. So you're paying $500 for an architect or engineer, and on top of it, you're paying $50 fee.
which we're not
We're not doing that.
recommending
No,
that. Okay.
No, again, I tried to strike some kind of a middle ground between up here and down here, and, and make it fair for everybody.
One other question, you were stating that our inspectors are paid by inspection that they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Does the $50 cover even that, or not even?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well,
If they have to go out and do a final inspection.
I would say it probably costs us between $150 and $200 when we do have to deal with these closeouts. But you can't charge that. I would
No,
not
but-
recommend that.
but
That would not be a good thing. So
Would it make
all
sense
I-
75
all
or
I-
100
All I
or?
would like to see is when I have to send my inspectors out there, their direct cost is covered.
Okay,
And we'll deal in-house with our in-house stuff as a daily process.
so would $100 make more sense
Well,
from a
it
perspective of
would.
covering that? I
it,
mean,
it would, but it's up to you folks.
The problem that I see is that, who's to blame here? Is it a shared blame? Is it the homeowner and the person that did, the contractor that did the work?
It's a combination.
It should be the contractor, right? And I-
90% of it should be, but there is some, when I go out and do inspections, and when I talk to homeowners, and especially we're getting more and more homeowners that pull their own permits.
right,
And we have to more or less babysit them to make sure that they do it right and they get their inspections and things like that. But, I think that we should be mindful of what we want to do regarding this issue with the citizens.
Yeah, my point is, I
Because
think it
some of
should
the
be
citizens-
charged to the
Some of
contractor.
the citizens will end up having to pay this fee.
right,
Right.
which I'm aware
But
of.
the bulk of it is the contractor's
Right,
fault.
So I'd like to be able to kind of have it be charged to them and not have it flow through to
Well,
the,
yeah, I mean, it's, we
know that
can't
you
pick
can-
and
I don't
choose,
know.
but
Gonna
I
say, I don't
mean,
know that you can direct what their business model is, right? If they have to pay it, most likely they're gonna charge it, they're gonna send it through at some point, or they've charged enough that,
I mean,
So
it's,
I guess for me, it's more from a perspective of the town. $50 is not that much, so someone will either just pay it and be done with it, but it's costing the town money to do that. Or if we make it $100, I think for most, if you're doing a project, I guess that's where I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out, is which, from the perspective of a town.
Yeah.
And knowing that we are always talking about our resources, is this a way, rather than completely charging a new fee,
Sure.
as we've seen other communities do, and I appreciate you're not wanting to go there, do we think $100 is more in line with at least covering some of our costs, but will still allow people to close these out?
I would feel more comfortable if you wanted to go that road to like split it in the middle and say $75.
Okay.
Can I ask another question actually pertaining to the OpenGov software? I would like to see none of this ever happen.
That's the goal.
So that's the goal, right? So is there a mechanism for like reminders? Or do reminders go out?
No.
Like basically saying like you have X number of days we haven't received this? Is that something that the software can do with,
That-
or is that we wouldn't have to pay extra
No,
for? Or is that
the-
part of this
the
functionality
software-
or?
The software can't do that. Actually, to be honest with you, these requirements are all under state law.
Right.
And technically and theoretically, the contractors, whatever the trade is, they're legally responsible to get their inspections.
Right.
Yeah, but.
I understand
you know,
that, but.
This is also,
yeah.
but this is also going back years.
Right.
And some of it could have been other inspectors' responsibility. I don't want to.
Sure. I'm
So
thinking
we're
about going
looking at-
forward. I'm thinking going forward,
But
though.
it's,
Yeah.
if there was a way for us to remind, so we do 12 to 1,500 permits a year.
Mm-hmm.
And with that volume, it's literally impossible for us to be able to remind everybody when they're supposed to get inspections. We,
Yeah.
I mean, we try to schedule everybody in a timely fashion and do as many inspections as we can. But my thought process was, I'm going to try to do some work with Clara about setting the word out about getting your inspections. And, one of the big things I tell everybody is, if you hire a contractor, don't let them start until they show you the permit and they post it in your window, and don't pay them a final payment until you've seen that permit signed off. And I think that would help go a long way. So I'm trying multiple avenues of reaching out to solve this issue.
Yeah.
But again, this is not an unusual situation,
And
unfortunately.
again, this is an issue that you're now looking back over things and realizing we have this issue.
Yeah.
So 75, I would like us to do the 75 personally. I don't know how other people feel, but I would like to take it to that.
Does anybody else have any comments?
If I may, Madam Chair, we're nickel and dime the citizens if we keep, adding fees. I know what you're doing, and I appreciate that, and I think it's necessary to keep people in line to do what needs to get done and make sure that they're not, dragging their feet. There may be technical people or other contractors that may not even be in business right now that have, not finished the job or whatever. So, again, it depends upon the situation that you find yourself, inspecting more than anything
Yes.
else.
Yeah.
So you raise it $25, I mean, I don't know, you go to $100 and $200, and I just think we're nickel and dime. Instead of taxes, these are licensed, these are fees, You know, so we're fearing people to death. I just, you made the recommendation of $50. The other gentleman that does the research, does the work, you know what your office can bear. If you think $50 is fair, I'm fine with it. I hate like all this with nickel and dime, you know, the residents to no end here. That's all. That's all I have to say.
It just kind of goes back to, again, like, what is the purpose of this charge, right? Like,
Well, to keep people in line.
exactly.
Accountable.
So the
Accountability.
question
Yeah,
is,
accountable.
so the question is like, is the $50 enough of a deterrent to have people adhere to the appropriate process or not? And I think that's what you're asking, essentially, Yolanda.
It's two things, right? It's that if I know that I pull a permit and I don't get it finished in the 180 days, and then I have to go back a year or two later to get it cleaned up, and it's gonna cost me $50, I'm like, you know,
Who cares? Yeah.
right? And then $75 might make me think about that, right? So again, the ultimate goal is that we don't have permits sitting out there for this long, and that they get cleaned up, and that people are told, this is the time you have. And, because there's ways that they can extend a permit and different things like that, right? That's
Yes.
not the issue. It's, we have these outstanding permits, and we still need to do work to close them out. So, again, if other people want to stay with the 50, I think 75 is a better deterrent. You can tell the person coming in saying, look, if you don't get this done in time and you need to extend it, there will be a $75 fee versus a $50 fee.
So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for kind of doing the research and putting this together for us. You know, I'm thinking in my mind that, you know, what the most logical situation of somebody who doesn't have the final permit and they go to sell their house and maybe they contact you guys and you say, there's still 4 outstanding permits for your residents, and then they're scrambling to try to close them out and do whatever they need to do. And so I know it's most likely like a contractor's fault, but at that point, it's really going to be falling on the homeowner to a situation that they may not even be aware of because of a contractor or something like that. So I think the education part is really important. I think getting that out, the communication around that, because as a homeowner, I know I typically, anytime I've had a contractor do work at my house, I just assume they know what they're doing and that they take care of it all. So
You're like every other homeowner.
I know, that's why I'm saying it. So I feel like, you know, the fees are mostly for the contractors and the homeowners to make them aware that this issue exists.
Yeah.
And that you're seeing a lot of this. And then hopefully, again, it's like a deterrent where you're not, if you educate people about what the permit process looks like, you're not gonna see a lot of these a lot of these happen, people are gonna close them out. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with a $50 fee. I think it's enough to just say, also, as part of this, have people understand that if they haven't closed it out in 180 days, it's like the permit's not valid. There is nothing, and they don't have, because I don't think people realize that they expire.
I would also say, like, I know that you don't generally send emails, but, with a lot of these sort of software programs, there is the opportunity for automated workflow so that if a permit is issued, there may be the opportunity to take a look and see if there's an automated reminder, so there's not somebody actually sending emails from the software to do that. Just to say, like, you've got X number of days left. I'm kind of looking more on the prevention side than the.
No, I get it.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
I think looking into that
We'll
would be a
look into
good idea, and it might be part of your overall communications
Yeah,
effort. It could be really helpful.
We'll look into it, see if that's possible.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any final comments, or else we can?
No, I think
move
just
to-
when somebody gets a permit or takes out a permit, it needs to state, right, that if this project isn't completed or within 180 days, either, talk about it expiring or that there'll be a $50 fine, basically, to have it
Yeah.
closed after that fact. I
Yeah.
think you have to look at what the wording is, but that way it notifies everybody up front. The homeowner maybe becomes a little more alert, but it does seem like there's got to be an automatic way to prompt.
we'll
right.
look.
Thank you very much. There's no action that we have to take on this. This is just,
Not tonight, this was
yeah.
just a discussion, yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly, yep.
Thank you.
all right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Doug.
very
Thank
much,
you, Doug.
everybody.
Thanks for what you do, buddy.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Take care.
We'll come and
Stop
visit
by
you,
and
Doug.
visit.
We'll come and visit.
What's your favorite?
All right, the next item on our agenda is approval of temporary delegation by the town manager. Our town manager, Michael Herbert, is currently out of the office. And out of an abundance of caution, Michael drafted a letter to delegate authority, and this is dated July 14th, so I'm just going to read it so everyone, it was in our packets, but I'm just going to read it for everybody. And this is directed to Cindy Livingstone, our town clerk, in regards to a delegation of signing authority. Dear Ms. Livingstone, pursuant to Section 5.3 of the Town of Ashland Charter, please be advised that Assistant Town Managers Catherine Bird and Beth Reynolds have decision-making and signing authority until further notice. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Michael Herbert, Town Manager. So we do need to approve this per our charter. So if,
Before we do that, I have a question.
yep,
So is the decision-making and the assigning authority split between their responsibilities? So if it's an HR decision, Catherine will be making that and signing off on anything, and if it's a economic or, the responsibilities that Beth has, she'll be making those decisions and signing off on those things?
yeah, go ahead.
No, that we can both make the decisions on either behalf. So if she's out of the office, then the decision-making and signing would go to me. So we can both sign.
What would happen if there's some disagreement between the two of you of, which way to go? How would that be handled?
I would think legal counsel would get involved or the
Okay,
select board.
I just
chair.
curious as to how that would happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Not that it would, but I'm just, if it comes up. Thanks.
Okay.
We all good?
There's a motion in our package.
Yes.
Pursuant to the Town of Ashland Charter, Article 5, Section 5.3, the Select Board approves the temporary delegation dated July 14th, 2026 by the town manager to the two assistant town managers.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that passes 5-0. Thank you, guys. The next item on our agenda is
Update.
discuss and accept, sorry.
Update on open
Update on
space.
open space and recreation plan. So I'm going to turn this over to Beth.
Yes. So I believe, hopefully you've seen it by now, it should be in your email, that the second draft of the Open Space and Rec Plan has been updated with comments from the Open Space and Rec Committee. They've done an extensive amount of work on this, and, we're almost there. I feel like we're at the finish line. The second draft has now been forwarded to you, the Select Board, the Planning Board, MAPC, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, for their required review. So basically, you're being asked to review it, provide comments, and then ideally, at the end, we'll need to provide a letter of review. The plan will be posted on the town website. We've been going back and forth as to where that's going to live. It will be in the community section. And so we're working on that. Hopefully by the end of this week, it will be posted there and advertised for public comment. Feedback from the public, boards, committees will be continued to be accepted throughout the review period. And then after all the required letters of the review are received, the third draft will be submitted to the Mass Division of Conservation Services for conditional approval. And then the state is expected to request we are expecting some additional information requiring ADA assessments. And I believe the Open Space and Rec Committee has volunteered to complete these assessments. And they'll be incorporated into the plan for the conditional approval. I think it's important to note that this plan is critical to a lot of opportunities for grants that we may have. Grants offered by the Division of Conservation Services, so drinking water supply protection, land acquisition or protection, park improvements, cooling corridors. Those are examples of some of the grants that we might be able to attain.
Thank you. So we're not going to go through the draft tonight, but we will discuss it at our next meeting.
So you want us to have our feedback at that meeting? Will we then invite Becca and Open Space to be here for that discussion, or are we just looking to put our comments together and draft a letter?
Pretty much put our comments together.
Comments
Okay.
together.
Okay, so would you like comments ahead of time so we can have something drafted before the meeting, so we can just discuss it at the meeting, or do you want us to bring them to the meeting?
Is there a preference?
I think really what it's up to you and the planning board. I mean, you could always do a joint meeting if you wanted to. The select board could do their review and the planning board could do theirs. And then I would say, bring all the ideas and the comments together into one and then review it at your next meeting.
Okay.
With potentially a draft letter of review.
Okay.
That's what I would, just to keep the process going.
Okay.
So what we'll do, so if you want to send comments to me, and I'll put them all together, and then we'll have a draft letter
Great.
for next meeting.
August.
Okay.
Okay. I know we have.
When do you
Roberta
when do you want those by? I need a deadline.
Are we doing another meeting in July?
No.
No.
Can you send them to me by like the 29th? That would be great. Okay. All right, so draft comments by the 29th and a draft. We'll discuss and have a letter for our next meeting in August. Okay, great. So thank you to Becca Solomon and the Open Space Committee. I know, Roberta, you're here. Is there anything that you wanted to say or make any comments, or are you good? You're welcome to come on up and join. Oh,
Turn the mic back on. It's off.
Doug must have turned it off.
Is that on?
Yes,
There
okay,
you go.
good.
All right. Roberta Stillman from the Open Space and Recreation Committee. We got a copy of the second draft last Wednesday, and we had our regular monthly meeting last night. So we kind of did the first draft in much the same way that you're going to do your review. Each person took different chapters to look at. They'll send their edits to me, and then we'll discuss it at our next meeting. And if we have to have an off-cycle working meeting in between, we'll just do that.
Okay,
But we'll get our second round of comments back to you. Thank you.
sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Does anyone else have any comments, questions?
Nope.
No, we're good? Okay, great. Okay, the next item on our agenda is discuss and accept the donation of a little library and self-sustaining garden at Kid Spot donated by Howie Axelrod in memory of his wife Nancy. So we have some information in our packet that Ashland resident Howie Axelrod wanted to do a little library outside of Kid Spot, which when I was talking to Beth, we were talking about how it's kind of like we don't have one there, and that's a really great location for one. And so this is to be a very child-friendly height, and it's going to be right outside the gate of the entrance to Kid Spot. Beth, you met Howie and kind of looked at the location, and he's planning to do all the work.
Yes, we walked the space, we saw the location, he marked it, DigSafe came and approved it. So it just needs your approval for that now, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any?
One question.
I do
what
have a
is-
question. Go ahead. No, go ahead. So I'm not familiar with how little libraries are maintained and operated. So is there going to be some consistent, like if it, like if an animal gets in it or something, like who's going to clean that up or whatever? I'm just curious about like what's the process to make sure that it's still usable and accessible for
It's
the young
amazing to
people?
see how these little free libraries bring the community together. And there is like this little network of people that make sure they're filled with books. Betsy Emberly is a great resource for that. Howie has devoted himself to this little spot. He will he will put all the love and care into it, and make sure that it is, it's in good shape. And he's actually gone through with me. He's hiring, a professional contractor to actually build this with like PVC, material, so it won't rot. I mean, he wants it to, be in
Long-lasting memory for his
long-lasting,
wife.
exactly.
Yep.
So, and then we can handle that. Yeah, we've never had any problems, I'm knock on wood, with our other ones. We have so many around town, we need a map.
More concerned about critters and, map. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But thanks for answering my
Boy
question.
Scout project.
Sure, no
It does sound like a Boy Scout
Map of
project.
little libraries. One question, so that's the information about the little library, and I think it's a great idea, and I love that he's, offering this to our community. I think that's such a great thing. The self-sustaining garden?
He just wants to, so outside of the gate of Kid Spot, and this is, just so you know too, it is something on my radar. I'd like to sort of focus on a grant for, really sprucing up Kid Spot, but right outside of the gate it's a little overgrown, it needs some love, and he said, that he would be willing to sort of just
some
beautify it
plants
a little
around
bit.
the library and
Exactly,
stuff. Okay,
yep, and he'll maintain and donate those.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Great.
And as far as the filling it with the books?
Yep, he's in
He's
contact
gonna-
with Betsy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
awesome. I was gonna say, like, I didn't know if, like, maybe we needed to reach out to the Moms Club, or, because, like, the Moms Club would be probably very
good idea,
excited about this little library there.
Yes.
If there are other people who'd like to donate children's books or to
Absolutely.
this.
So if there's anything that, we need to do to kind of connect those, just let us know. But,
If he's connected with Betsy, though, then
yeah, Betsy will.
Betsy will handle
Yeah.
it.
So just thank you to Howie for,
Yes.
for offering to do this and give this to our community. It'll be great for the kids.
I move that we accept the donation of a little library and self-sustaining garden at Kid Spot donated by Howie Axelrod with very much thanks in memory of his wife, Nancy.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All
I'm,
those in-
I'm meeting with him tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to let him know?
I will.
Oh, you're gonna have the pleasure.
I'd be happy to.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. The next item on our agenda is discuss Mass. Corderville Road Bridge Replacement Project. So I got an email about a week ago from MassDOT. All the information's in the packet. I met with town council just to kind of make sure I understood what this entailed and why we were getting notification. So basically, we received approval as a federal aid project, which is great news. There's a real standard process that you have to go through to be able to do this, and this is the notification. Right now, it's currently at a 25% design, and it needs to really be at like a 75% design, so we know sort of what, we don't really kind of know what it's all gonna really entail yet, because they haven't done that work yet. So, we don't have to take any action for a while, especially until we get more information on that. And so this will have to go to town meeting, but council thinks that given the timeline, that will most likely be fall of 2027, so we have some time. There are going to be probably easements for 4 parcels that we're going to have to work on, and that's going to be part of the town meeting. And as far as an expense to the community, to Ashland, really it's, if you look, there's a map. Thank you to Susan for putting together this map, which really talks about what those parcels are. So there's really only 4 parcels that would potentially be impacted that aren't owned by the town. So it should be a fairly straightforward process, and we would just need to get some appraisals done, and the cost to the town would be approximately $5,000 to $10,000 for this project. So, and then, of course, then we'll have to, work on the actual timeline and everything else for
Yeah,
this too.
Dan, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, Dan Mao, this was part of the discussion of the roadway Traffic Safety Committee.
Oh, good.
And this came on our radar because we did receive notification from the state that the bridge is in deplorable conditions, and it needed to be repaired sooner than later. So with that, they came up with some suggestions about trying to straighten that road and the bridge, so you don't have that big bend. So they're thinking of trying to straighten out the road from Corderville onto Pleasant Street to make it a softer bend than the type of bend that we have right now, which would definitely mean some intersection redesign at High and Corderville Road, where Burnham's is. So there may be some land taking in that area to straighten that intersection out. So but that was the preliminary discussions, but that's where it looks like it's may have headed up that way. So
Okay.
just to let you guys know.
Oh, good.
Couple questions / comments. So this is basically a TIP project, right? Transportation.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
we know what that process is like.
Yep.
Based on 126, I would expect this is certainly not as extensive and expensive a project, but we know how long that takes. In regards to the taking, the state manages the takings, correct? Or are we, because when they did 126, they managed the taking. They spoke to the different landowners. They didn't want us involved at all. Is this a similar situation, or are they going to ask us to get involved to help do these takings?
I believe it's going to be us, because we have to bring this to town meeting. So,
Right, but are we
But we
gonna,
can
so
find
are
out more
we doing,
information.
are we doing the takings, and are we gonna have to have funding for that?
I will find out.
Okay. And then my second question / comment is, we know that Burnham's is in the process of being sold, and if we know who the new owners are, they should probably be made aware that they have been made aware that the intersection could be changing, it could be impacting
Yes.
whatever design that they plan on
Yes,
doing.
we've brought it up multiple times to
Okay.
make them aware.
Okay. Great, so no decision on our part now?
Nope, no action.
And we'll be kept up to date as to when they hit 50%, 75%, and this might move
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. I just wanted to make sure it was on everybody's
Yeah,
I'm
radar.
sure Dan,
Great.
Dan's group
Does anybody
office
else have
will
any
be aware of it.
questions?
Nope.
Okay, no,
All right.
thank you.
The next item on our agenda is to discuss requests from the Ethical Procurement Citizen Group to send a letter to Middlesex Pension Fund. I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Makita.
Thanks, Madam Chair. If folks recall, a little while ago, we had a citizens group approach us to discuss basically, the town's investment in the pension plan. And there were some concerns around making sure that those investments aligned with what our values are as a town. I think there are other procurement questions that they've had around, who we're doing business with and why, but they were very concerned about it. And they had come before us, I think, a couple of times at this point, and had expressed their viewpoints. And they had asked the last time they were here if we would consider writing a letter to the pension board, basically expressing our concerns. So, I've included a draft letter in our packets today, and it's basically more or less more of a request to kind of open a conversation with them about this issue. It's not, we're not specifically asking for divestment on any particular investment at this point. We just want to kind of let them know what we're thinking about the issue and get a little bit more information from them about how they make those determinations. I mean, I drafted in this letter that we know that, they have a fiduciary responsibility as well when, they're making those investments. And we also, I also want to loop back to, I think, our conversation before. I do not think, and we can have them confirm this, but they're not like investing in individual stocks and such. Like these are funds that they're investing in. So it may be difficult to disentangle, but there may be options too. But I drafted this letter to open the conversation with them and to get feedback from the board to find out if this makes sense with going forward, and of course, if they're first off, and then second off, if like the language and the approach makes sense. So that's the story thus far.
Does anybody have any comments, questions?
Thank you.
No, I mean, that's what we originally discussed, when Rob brought it up, about a year ago.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll meet the requirements that particular group was looking for, and hopefully we can get a response back from the retirement board. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
So I know that these are, their current investments, like you had mentioned, they're actually, I think it's an S&P 500 index fund.
Yeah.
Which basically means it's not individual securities.
Right.
So it would have to be a very different direction that they would have to obviously go in.
Right.
The only thing I had a question on, so we have Ashland's town values, and we say that it's on our website. Like, is there something more that we can put, like, that would be a little bit more specific, or how?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I did that is because I wanted to be very clear. And I think that this is as specific as we want to place it right now, because these are our stated values, and this is, as a community, this is something that we've used this in various planning documents. It's something that's been reiterated over and over again. So that's where that's where that's coming from. And so I'm not sure if there's anything more specific we want to add at this time. I'd really like to open that dialogue with them to find out, to confirm that we understand like how that works, and then find out if any steps we could take to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. It is a complicated topic, right? And in addition to the fact that these aren't individual securities that are purchased, and how do you disentangle that is certainly questionable.
Right.
Then there is I do like how you talked about Ashland's town values. That too is a very complicated subject. I think the important thing here is that it does, no matter what a person's individual values are, it helps to create a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I think so often the most important thing we do is have conversations about anything that's important, no matter whether we agree or disagree. It's the conversation that's important, right?
Right, conversations and concern, and to
Yes.
figure out what, if anything, can be done from there. But I think this is sort of like the start of that kind of inquiry.
So at this point, have you shown this to the advisory group or whatever, the citizens group?
I have not.
Okay.
I just got a draft out, but I want
Yeah.
to start this conversation
Yes.
with y'all and
Yeah.
just kind of,
Okay.
because we said we were going to talk about
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can definitely go back if that's something we want to do, and
Yeah.
then talk about it next meeting.
Okay. All right. I think, I mean, for me personally, I think that would be good.
Yep.
And then if we wanted to send it, then we can put it on our agenda to vote to send at the next meeting. But
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I've had conversations with the group about the
Yeah.
direction, just not the verbiage, so I
Yes.
want to go back to them and talk to them about the verbiage, but this is the general direction that, and Beth and I have met with them on a couple of occasions, just to kind of hammer out things, so maybe we can speak with them about the verbiage on this, and then we can figure out next steps.
The Ethical Procurement Citizens Group.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we also get this up on the website so people, who are sitting here and listening to us talk about this are not, maybe they're not completely aware of what we're talking about? So, get the draft up there as well as to
It's in the
citizen-
packet. It's in the packet.
Okay.
It should be in
And
the
that's
packet, so it's
been- the
accessible, so
packet's been
people can take a
posted
look.
now? Okay.
Okay, yeah, so,
Okay.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if you're not sure what we're talking about, check our packet for tonight, and that's the copy of the letter regarding Ashland's town values and pension fund investments.
And also check out our previous select board meetings on the subject, so that would be helpful too for context.
Thank you, Makita, for doing that and for working with them on all this. So, moving on our agenda, discuss Keefe Tech feasibility study to evaluate district needs. I'm going to turn this over to
Yes. So recently, the Keefe Tech Advisory Committee voted to hire an OPM for a feasibility study of renovating or building a new Keefe Tech building. As you know, Framingham, Ashland, Hopkinton, Holliston, and Natick are our regional partners in Keefe Tech. And there's currently 300 students on the wait list. That's why they're looking at this feasibility study to expand. There's $2 million in funding for the feasibility study. And it will basically, the study will focus on 4 options. So one will be to renovate the current building to accommodate the current 875 students. The second is to construct a brand-new building to accommodate the current 875 students. The third will be to construct a brand-new building to accommodate 1,100 students and add additional vocational options. And then the fourth option would be to construct a brand-new building to accommodate the 1,350 students and add additional vocational options. So right now, they're just at the feasibility study, so they're going to be looking at those 4 different options and then decide the next steps. So when it comes time to, to move forward with this, if the towns choose to, the MSBA would reimburse the project 66%. That's as of today. So if there's changes over years, that number may not be, I don't want to quote that now for 4 years from now, but, just to give you an idea of contributions. And then the towns would split the remainder of the costs based on the average percentage of students from each community. So right now, the committee is thinking construction wouldn't happen for another 4 years. And I believe, the feasibility study will take some time as well. It would obviously need a vote of all the cities and towns, or the city and towns, to approve it to go forward. So that is the update from the committee.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just a quick question, where would be the location? The same site, or are they looking at other
I
properties?
think that will come out in the feasibility study. I
Okay.
asked the same question.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you know,
What is, of the current student population, what percentage is our Ashland students, and what would our percentage responsibility be as a town to support whatever they do?
You know what? Ed had given me those numbers. And I don't know them. I don't want to quote it
Okay,
off the
you can
top.
get that
but
to me.
Yeah, I can get you our percentage.
And
yeah,
then
for sure.
second follow-up is, so Ed Berman, I believe, is our representative on the Keefe Tech
The advisory committee.
School Committee.
Yes, he is.
Will he then also be our representative on the feasibility committee study as well? Or would we have someone as a representative of Ashland as part of the feasibility committee?
Yep, let me ask Ed that. Yep, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I think if we're going to be held responsible for some of the involvement and some of the paying of the school, we should have someone from town
Oh,
actively
absolutely.
involved and understanding what they're looking at and talking about.
Yep. I would think he would be. He is so involved.
Yeah, I would think so
really do
too.
think he would, be that person, so.
So
If
I'm
you could just send all that information to the whole board?
Sure.
Yes, that'd be great.
those were my questions were about the percentage.
Perfect. Yep. It's significant.
Seems to be growing every year.
Nikita, did you have a question?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
I just real quick follow-up, I think we're seeing more and more students going into trades as we see, hear about AI taking over certain jobs. There's certain things that AI is never going to be able to do until we have robots.
Well, and the robots are actually here, so, but we can talk about workforce development any other time. I guess I will ask the question. I just want to get clarity on the timeline, Beth, of this process, because we know what the immediate need is now, and, so just roughly how long will it, from
feasibility.
end to end, just to talk about the feasibility piece, how long is that going to take? And then when, recommendations are issued, when will,
I mean,
when
they're
will things
thinking,
happen?
they're
Yeah.
thinking 4 years,
Okay.
really, from now until hopefully the decision and the build
Wow,
begin, yeah.
okay.
And feasibility itself could take anywhere from 2 to 3 years. Was Mendez 2 years or 3 years, Claudia, for feasibility? Forget.
It's been in existence since, I think, 2008. 18, might have been 17
Yeah.
even.
So,
Given the immediate demand for this kind of education, are there any sort of mitigation steps that we're aware of that, Tech Voc schools across the state, or even Keith Tech specifically, are doing to try to meet the current demand for this kind of skills education? And are students eligible for that? Is there anything from the state, or is it, I'm just, because that's a long, 4 years, in span of workforce development
300
is like.
people on the wait list
Right, and
each year,
300 people on the wait list, there's a demand now. I know there are a lot of public-private partnerships that are happening right now, that even some of the big tech companies, because people are building other things, we don't have to get into that, but there's a big initiative for private industry. They're very interested in people who have those skills. I'm just curious, what are we doing for our kids now? Do we know? Is that part of this discussion, or?
I do not believe it's part of this feasibility study for the building itself.
Okay.
But I would assume that the superintendents would be discussing these
Okay, yeah,
things.
okay, yeah.
I can ask Ed.
Yeah, I'd just like to
Yeah, sure.
ask, yeah, maybe.
All right, thank you, Beth.
Sure.
The next item on our agenda is discuss August meeting schedule and date of finance budget workshop. I believe we had discussed having our next meeting on August 5th. First of all, does that still work for everybody? Yep, okay. We had also talked about having a finance budget workshop. So our finance team can come to, on that date, and we could do an early start, potentially 5 to 7, with the schedules and the workload, year-end workload and things, an audit on the finance side. If we didn't, they are available on August 5th. If we decided not to have them at that meeting, it would probably be September, October timeframe because of just their cadence. So just wanted to confirm that would work for everybody?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Are we looking for 2 dates in August?
As of now, just that one. Yeah.
I thought we had a tentative for the 19th as well,
We
just
have to-
because of,
Okay.
just because we said, just in case there's things that we need to vote on or
Oh,
reappointments of people.
oh, that's
or,
right.
Yep, okay. Yep.
Potential, something to put on the radar, potential drought stuff where we may have to extend it past September 1st,
Okay,
different things like that.
all right. Let's, yeah, I don't know where we're going to be with the reappointments, for the 5th. Susan, I know you're on. Do you think that we would be in a good place with the reappointments for a meeting on the 5th, or do you think that we need to?
No, I was pushing for 8-5 because the other meeting that I thought we discussed was doing the finance meeting
Okay.
on the other August date. So when I sent out all the reappointment stuff, I was gearing up for 8-5.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, that would be great, okay, to have that all.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. So we'll still keep, let's keep it still as a tentative date in case we do need it. And if there's anything specific that we want to make sure gets covered for the finance budget, the budget workshop, would it work for everyone to send comments to me, feedback to me by, say, next week? Would that work?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. So if there's specific things that you want to make sure gets covered, whether it's stabilization fund, whether it's enterprise funds, or whatever specific things that you want to make sure we cover, if you can send that to me by, look at my calendar here. So by the 22nd?
And
That's next Wednesday.
That's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. What did I say?
Yeah, that's what
Next
you
week.
said.
you
Yeah.
said,
Okay,
yeah, so we need to let you know but no later than a week from now.
yes.
What we want covered if we don't think it's going to potentially be covered.
I know that at our previous meeting, it was brought up that some of the information was going to be used from the Citizens Academy. Could we get a paper copy or electronic copy of the Citizens Academy to see what that basic information is?
You want
and
the
that-
PowerPoint that they
Yes,
use?
perfect.
Yeah,
that'd be
any of the
great.
materials, any of the
Yeah, whatever
educational
they use.
materials that they
To
use?
see if you want to have them go into more detail
Yeah,
about certain
just
things?
to-
Or
Okay.
expand on it.
Or expand on
Okay.
it, or whatever.
And just to make sure, just to see what they
It's a
cover.
good starting point, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great idea,
That
Claudia.
actually, yeah.
And is the expectation we would do that not on camera or on camera
I
or?
think on camera, if we can.
Okay, so
Yeah.
start our meeting at 5.
Yep.
With that financial presentation where we can ask questions.
Yep.
Okay,
So five.
Start 5 o'clock.
Approximately 5 to 7, we'd figure out food, we'd bring in a pizza or something. So, you know, and then go into our regular meeting.
yeah, okay.
So,
Makes sense.
you know, bring tents, because we'll be camping here that night.
No,
Just kidding.
Don't make me bring my guitar and s'mores, because if, you know, you're saying camp out, right?
All right, so, Beth will make sure that the PowerPoint from the Citizens Academy gets sent out.
that'd be great.
And if you send me any items for discussion by next Wednesday, the 22nd. 22nd. Thank you. Okay. The next item on our agenda is vote to sign and post the warrant for the 2026 state primary. This is for September 1st, 2026, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Ashland High School. And this is, again, the state primary. Does anyone have any questions?
No early voting. I know there's mail-in voting available, but we're not doing early voting.
I don't think for a primary?
I'm just verifying. Okay,
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
early voting for primaries? I think so. I don't know for sure, but
It's a state, and
it's a state primary, so.
State primary, yeah. So,
So we'll find out. That's a good question. Okay. Can I get a motion to?
I move that we've sign and post the warrant for the 2026 state primary as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good to go. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is an update on Zero Cross Street. So in our packets, we had a letter that was sent to us from Agilitas Energy, and it was a particularly thorough communication, I guess you could say. And I know we have some folks here in the audience that I assume want to come up and chat with us. Carl, do you want to?
I think Carl said he could give us a little history here, and
Yeah. So we can talk about this. Also, just to kind of level set for the board before Carl starts to talk. So Carl had sent us a draft letter in yesterday, and it did not make our packets because we got it yesterday. So we're not going to, and it's also not on our agenda to take any action on this. So we won't be taking any action on that letter tonight. I just wanted to let the board know. I talked to Carl, and we talked about that. So, okay.
So we'll look to take one on our August 5th meeting,
Potentially, yes.
potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Carl Hackinson from the Conservation
Thank you, Carl
Commission.
Hackinson, 346 Chestnut Street. And I'm here this evening as the Vice Chair of the Conservation Commission. We have two other commissioners in the audience here, and I believe some other people that may want to speak to this issue. But if it pleases the board, I could review where we've been briefly and where we are, and then take any questions that you may have with regard to the action that the Conservation Commission took. Does that work for
Sure,
everyone?
that works.
Okay. Well, in 2020, Seaboard Solar applied for a special permit at the land that used to be the Liberty Mutual property on Franklin Road in Hopkinton and on Cross Street, both in Hopkinton and Ashland, to convert that to a solar farm. The gist of that special permit was the solar array itself and the protection of open space. That was filed at the Registry of Deeds. That special permit was granted. Ashland did have an unofficial seat at the table during that negotiation because some of the property that was involved in there was in Ashland. Most of it was in Hopkinton, but some of it was in Ashland. That was filed at the Registry of Deeds 2020. In 2000, subsequently, the property was sold to Agilitas Energy from Seaboard Solar. And subsequent to that, in the original plan, the land that was in Ashland was designated in the plan and in what was filed at the Registry of Deeds as part of the area that was being protected as open space. And I believe that I sent to you a copy of that decision, as well as a plan that clearly, and I'll read the language, clearly states that the plan clearly shows open space provided in Ashland and an existing hiking/walking trail to be maintained. Again, this was part of the plan that was approved by the Hopkinton Planning Board. And it gets kind of complicated here because most of this stuff is happening in Hopkinton. And we'll get to how Ashland is involved in this in a minute. That plan was approved. Subsequent to that, the land was sold to Agilitas. And in 2024, Agilitas filed an A&R, an approval not required. And you're probably familiar with that, but those who are not, approval not required refers to land that's going to be subdivided but is not subject to the subdivision process. It's based on whether there are adequate frontage on a street. That was, and this is where it starts to involve Ashland. How that divided the land was at the border of Hopkinton and Ashland. The land in Hopkinton remained conservation land. The land in Ashland, Agilitas created a residential lot. There was no mention of residents in any of the original applications. So our thought is that the material facts of the original application were not being followed here. The A&R was approved by Hopkinton, but our argument is the creation of lots in Ashland under the subdivision control law should have not triggered a public hearing, but triggered notice to the town of Ashland that these lots were being created. And had notice been given to the town of Ashland, the Conservation Commission and any other interested party could have raised an issue that this land was supposed to be protected as open space and that that trail was supposed to be protected as an existing hiking trail. That was not done. So eventually, this is kind of an orphan case. Everyone's fingerprints are all over it, but no one seems to want to take responsibility for it, including the Hopkinton Planning Board, the Hopkinton Open Space Committee, the Hopkinton Conservation Commission, the Hopkinton Town Government, and various people have been involved in it here. Mr. Mignani was involved in it when he was chair of the Select Board. So there have been filings, not filings, but communication back and forth between various people. Eventually, and this has been going on, these communications, since last winter. Eventually, Michael Herbert and I reached out to Agilitas and said, can we have a conversation about this and try to get it straightened away? Because in the conditions of the original special permit, all the open space land was supposed to be donated to HALT, Hopkinton Area Land Trust, or another like organization. That land was never donated to HALT. It was donated to the town of Hopkinton, but not to HALT. Had it been donated to HALT, everything would have been fine because HALT owns land in Ashland. So the whole idea of this is a Hopkinton issue, this is an Ashland issue would have gone away. Halt could have, and Halt owns adjacent land to this land. That didn't happen. Eventually, the land was donated to, the land in Hopkinton was donated to the town of Hopkinton, and Halt was left out of the picture altogether. So the original conditions premised solar array and open space, not residential. It also said that the land would be donated to Halt, which it was not. It also said that there would be a conservation restriction put on the land, which there has not been. And then during the A&R process, Ashland was not given notice of this whole process, so we weren't able to weigh in. Michael Herbert and I met with a representative from Agilitas probably in May. I don't remember the exact date. It was a cordial meeting. It was in Michael's office. They were in North Carolina, but we were in Michael's office. And we agreed to meet again. So the second meeting, I believe, was at the beginning of June, which were two members, Zach Osgood, who wrote the letter to you, and Sam Ingalls was the other person. Michael and I think, were on the same page that that was a very productive meeting, and we agreed to meet subsequently to iron out the differences. I remember at the end of that meeting, they said to us, "We understand your point much better now." So I was cautiously optimistic that this was going to get back on track. They have a contract, they had a contract back in the winter that they still have to sell the property to a buyer to build a house there. That's what we were contesting, that we didn't think that that transfer was proper because we didn't have notice when they created those lots in Ashland. Time went by, Michael went on leave, and nothing happened for several weeks. And then your letter that you received, I believe it was last Wednesday, came in. That was shared with me. I was a little bit shocked by the content. I don't agree with most of their argument. I brought it to the Conservation Commission for consideration. The Conservation Commission voted to have me put together a response to that from the Conservation Commission. My thought was that this response should be from not just the Conservation Commission, but from the town of Ashland, which is why I forwarded it to you. Michael's response early on in this process was to ask the building department to hold off on any building permits that were sent in with regard to that lot until this was clarified, until this cloud of title was clarified. We have our own permits, as you're aware of at the Conservation Commission, that we are very careful that the applicants for those have clear title to the property before we issue any order of conditions to a notice of intent or stormwater permit. So that's where we are with that. That's the Conservation Commission is unanimously supportive of getting this clarified before any further work goes forward. The fact that, well, you read the contents of your letter, it sounded like the time was of the essence to us with regard to the language of that letter from Agilitas. And so we wanted to put Agilitas on notice that before they did anything else, they should hear from the town of Ashland. So that's where we are now. So sorry, I'm talking a lot. I think that gives us a little bit of a background of where we've been and where we are. And I would be happy to answer any questions because I'm assuming that you have more than one.
I do want to just read like a portion of the Agilitas letter that we received because I think that it's important. In section 3 where it says Agilitas's position regarding the Ashland parcel and future permit review. There's a couple paragraphs here. Agilitas therefore intends to proceed with the pending sale of the Ashland parcel in accordance with its contractual rights and obligations. Nothing in the prior Hopkinton open space donation process, the Hopkinton A&R process, or the discussions with Halt should be construed as restricting Agilitas's ability to convey the Ashland parcel or as creating a basis for the town of Ashland to prejudge any future application submitted by the buyer. Agilitas respectfully expects that any permit or approval application submitted by the buyer will be reviewed by the town of Ashland in good faith on its merits and within the bounds of the applicable statutes, bylaws, regulations, and legal standards. Agilitas understands that any future permit or approval applications for the Ashland parcel would be submitted by the buyer, not Agilitas. Agilitas nevertheless has a direct interest in ensuring that the pending sale is not impaired by any misunderstanding regarding the prior Hopkinton open space donation process. Accordingly, Agilitas respectfully expects that any such applications, if and when submitted by the buyer, will be reviewed by the town of Ashland in good faith on their merits and in accordance with applicable statutes, bylaws, regulations, and legal standards. Agilitas reserves all rights with respect to the Ashland parcel, the pending sale, and any action or inaction that may interfere with Agilitas's contractual rights or the buyer's lawful permitting process. So I just wanted to make sure that that was read as well.
So is there a question in there?
So the question, so I have a couple questions. You know, from everything that I've heard too, you know, we're not able to challenge the permitting process in Hopkinton because we don't have that jurisdiction. And the actual language that was in the decision was kind of vague. It wasn't specific. It didn't say.
Which decision are you referring to?
So I'm reading the
special permit?
the special permit.
I thought it was very specific, but finish your question, I'm sorry.
So it says, a plan shall be submitted prior to the issuance of a building permit showing the portion of land designated as open space that by the applicant's stated intent is to be conveyed to the Hopkinton Area Land Trust or another nonprofit corporation, the principal purpose of which is conservation of open space. So, but it's like the plan should be submitted prior to a building permit.
The plan was filed with that decision.
I don't know, because we've talked to council, and it is not, basically it is that it would have to go back in front of the entity, so the planning board or whatever entity is going to be reviewing a building permit. So it's like I'm not sure what jurisdiction the Conservation Commission has at this point over this, because it's not something that's in front of the Conservation Commission. It's not specific to the wetlands. So I'm trying to see what where the dog in the fight is right now.
Well, what we are, which is why we are reaching out to the board, this will be before the Conservation Commission, and it will be a lot messier before the Conservation Commission if the sale goes through and it gets to us, because we don't recognize the creation of lots in Ashland without notice to the town of Ashland. That's clear on its face, that we should have been given notice, not necessarily the Conservation Commission, but the town of Ashland, the planning office. They weren't. We weren't able to weigh in on this. It's land that we were aware of that was supposed to be protected as open space and supposed to be protected as an existing trail that they made a commitment to, the previous owners made a commitment to. That plan is in what I sent to you. It's very clear on its face that they committed to that. To change the material terms of that by the subsequent owners, those terms are effective. They run what's called run with the land. So subsequent owners to the land are subject to the terms of that special permit. We think that it's very clear on its face that that was the intention, was to protect open space. That was the intention of HALT. It was the intention of the town. The fact that the town kind of missed that, I initially thought that this was an oversight on both Agilitas's part and Hopkinton's part. But after reading the letter to Michael Herbert, I'm convinced that this was premeditated, that this wasn't an oversight at all. They went back to the drawing board and said, well, we said we were going to protect open space, but we found out if we cut off this Ashland part, we can actually sell that land. Well, and that's their prerogative if they want to. But when they started to cut off the land under an A&R and created lots in Ashland, that's where that nexus is that you're looking for, as far as I'm concerned, that we should have had notice so that we could have said, well, wait a minute here. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily were prohibited from doing that, but we were prohibited from being able to weigh in on that plan. And we would have had we had notice. Notice is at the heart of every land use decision. You're probably all aware of that. You're all probably landowners. And if you do anything in your neighborhood that impacts your neighbors, you have to notify them. This was creating a lot in Ashland. If you went to the planning office, you would probably find no trace of this lot called Zero Cross Street because it was created on a plan in Hopkinton, not in Ashland.
But would then the notice need to go to the abutters, not necessarily the town of Ashland?
No, it would have to go to the planning office or the town clerk's office.
So the way this was explained to me, and it's a very complicated issue, and the tone of this letter, right, is very, there's some anger there that there's some question about whether or not they can move forward with this. And so I just want to be careful about where we put the town in a bad position, right, legally.
Yeah, and so do I.
Yeah, I know you do. But let me just say, so here's what my understanding is at this point, is that originally, there was the map and it was shown that, and it included Ashland, right? And then it referenced open space. But then later, it references open space, but it no longer shows that whole piece. So it becomes then the ability to make a choice about it. Now, and I said this to our attorney, well, common sense would say to me that when they reference open space in the second referencing, that it would be referring back to the original picture. And, but then legally you can understand why, because it doesn't do that specifically, that it kind of leaves this wiggle room. And that, so that that's a problem potentially, right? And then the other thing is, it is, the enforcement in this really lies within the town of Hopkinton, right? It lies on.
Do you want me to comment on that before you get too far?
Go ahead.
With regard to the A&R and to the special permit, you're right. The enforcement does rest with Hopkinton. They kind of missed this one as far as I'm concerned. The A&R is where it attaches Ashland. That's land in Ashland. They can't control what happens in land in Ashland. Ashland controls what happens in Ashland. What they're saying, they're trying to have it both ways. They're saying this A&R only impacts one piece of property and it's in Hopkinton. An A&R, the whole purpose of an A&R is to divide a piece of property into several pieces of property. It just so happens that those pieces of property, two of them, one's the size of this podium and one is almost 2 acres, lie in Ashland. That's where we should have had notice. I'm not saying that we're right and they're wrong. I'm saying we need some clarification on this. And we were denied the opportunity to weigh in on this. So as far as, I guess it was your comment with regard to putting us in a bad place, asking for clarification on something is not putting us in a bad place. We're not denying anything. We're asking for clarification. What the Conservation Commission is saying, we can't process this unless we have clarification on this. We don't give orders of conditions on lots that are illegally created. We don't know if this one was illegally created or not. We need some clarification on that. And if somebody other than the Conservation Commission or Agilitas, a third party, could give us some clarification that what I'm saying is wrong and what they're saying is correct, then I'm fine with that. I'm
Carl,
not.
I would be very happy to have clarification on this, honestly, I really would, because, it is, for a number of reasons, and it's been going on for a while now, and it does involve citizens in our community, and it does involve our community. I would love to have clarification. Seeing this letter, after some of the conversation that I've had with you and with Michael, was shocking to me.
It was
right,
shocking to me as well.
shocking, right? So whatever is going on here, I'd love some clarification about it. What I'm saying is, I just want to be careful. You wrote an excellent letter, and again, as I said to you, some of this I don't have a lot of background knowledge about, but your letter, was well done. I just think maybe we could talk a little bit about a couple of sentences, just because we don't want to get ourselves in the position. At this point in time, they're not before the Conservation Commission, right? So we're really just trying to find out what's going on.
What I'm trying to do is preemptively
I know you are.
address this
I
thing.
know, so I just
that
don't-
it doesn't become, so that the prospective buyer is on notice that there's a cloud here. You would think that they would want to get this clarified as well. And so an effective dialogue, which I thought that Michael and I had begun with Agilitas, to be continued, would be what I guess we're looking for. I mean, I don't know how to say it any clearer other than the fact that that's Ashland land. It was created outside the scope of Ashland jurisdiction by the Hopkinton Planning Board.
By the owner, though,
Well,
right?
but it was approved by the Hopkinton Planning Board.
Yeah, well, they just kind of said, well,
And
we
they
we
should
care
have
about
said
Hopkinton, right?
to the Ashland Planning Board, by the way, that would have been a real
That
simple
would have
issue.
been, I agree.
Or it would have been even just as simple to say, we're supposed to donate this land to Halt, there you go. We wouldn't have to take it to town meeting. Ashland would be absolved from any responsibility. Hopkinton would be absolved from any responsibility. Halt was willing to accept the land. That letter made it sound like Maury Gasser was responsible for the whole mess. And so I sent it to him, and he said, this isn't how I remember things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear that we have very different perspective than what this letter outlined, right? And all I'm saying is, yes, I would love to have clarification. And if the Conservation Commission feels as though they can get some clarification, I just want them to be careful so as not to raise any legal issues about us the town looking like we're trying to stop. I forget the legal terminology for it, but there is some terminology. And I mean, I think we'd all be happy to understand what exactly has gone on here. Well, how has this been so looking one way, and then all of a sudden, why didn't Hopkinton just deal with it as a whole and involve Ashland? To me, that I would think that our planning board, our building inspector would have worked with Hopkinton had the roles been reversed.
I think so, too. Let me comment on two issues, and I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time here. But as you know, elected boards turn over. So things happen, and some people are more thorough at going through either applications or how they apply to past applications than other people are. So there's enough blame to go around here. It doesn't do us any good to blame what has gone on in the past. We need some clarification on how to deal with this. With regard to the strong language in my letter, that's edited strong language in my letter about 5 times, responding to the strong language in the letter that you received from Agilitas, because this so took me by surprise post the conversations
sure it was insulting
that
on
Michael
us,
and
right?
I
It
had
was-
had.
Based on the conversations that you all had, it was insulting even to get something like that, because
Well, it was. And so I was trying to get their attention to say, before you get too far and before you tell us to go pound sand, let's get this clarified. Because we do have some authority. We're not looking to get the town in hot water in any way. But we would, I think just the opposite, that we potentially get the town in hot water by issuing permits to land that was illegally transferred. Maybe it wasn't illegally transferred. Maybe, but I can't see how that is the case. And I can't see how maybe it might go forward if we were given proper notice in the first place. But notice, I guess, is at the heart of this. So when you keep referring back to Hopkinton, we can't do anything about what happened in Hopkinton. Hopkinton didn't enforce the terms of the special permit. They seemed to be asleep at the wheel during the A&R process, and we had no knowledge of the A&R process. I'm sure that had we had knowledge, and I think I can speak on behalf of at least the Conservation Commission, not the Planning Board, we would have at least had a discussion about this. And we were denied any discussion. And Agilitas is seeming to take the position that we don't deserve notice. And we don't deserve the right to weigh in on land that's in our town. That's what kind of ruffles my feathers about this whole thing.
Like I said, I totally understand. And in terms of your letter, if the Conservation Commission, chooses to send it, that's fine. I would like the opportunity to briefly sit with you and talk about maybe 2-3 words.
We've already
One of them
changed.
you already had suggested to me that if the select board wasn't going to be able to vote on this, that you would remove it.
We wouldn't say Ashland,
So,
we would say the
right.
Ashland Conservation Commission.
Right. So, and there was just one other small change.
Well,
So-
we would be happy to do that. We've sent Agilitas notice that we have this letter, but just to make sure that we are compliant with the open meeting law, we put it on our agenda for Monday again to revote it and to reestablish that. And so we told them that if we send an official response from the Conservation Commission, it would be Monday evening or Tuesday morning. Any other questions? Seems like Claudia and I are having a conversation here.
Go ahead, Yolanda.
I just have one question. So if they did an A&R for the property with Hopkinton,
That's correct.
they then would need to do an A&R with the property in Ashland if they want to do anything with it, or not?
Well, and that's a gray area, and it's a very good question. You are familiar with the map, so
Yeah.
so much of the property is in Hopkinton.
Yeah.
A little less than 2 acres is in Ashland. If it was half in Hopkinton and half in Ashland, there would be no question as to whether they would have to file in both towns. The fact that it bleeds over into Ashland probably precludes them from having to require an A&R in Ashland, other than notice, which is what I keep harping on here, notice to the town of Ashland that they are creating lots. If they were wise, they would have. They would have gone to the planning office and say, this is what we're going to do, how should we proceed? When I was talking to with Michael, to the Agilitas people, he said, yeah, we decided that we'd cut it off and it was zoned residential, so a logical assumption would be, we'll sell it as residential. And I said, a logical assumption would have been, let's speak to Ashland. This is in Ashland, it's not in Hopkinton. And he said something like, gee, I didn't think of that. Well, I mean, that's a logical assumption to me. Land in Ashland falls under the jurisdiction of Ashland, not Hopkinton. Did that answer your question, or that further?
It did. I mean, so the letter that Carl sent, it just went to the two of you? Because I don't see it in my
I thought I sent it to everyone, didn't I?
inbox.
I think it ended
Unless
up
it went
going
to my
to personal emails.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Okay, I'll look at my
Yeah.
personal.
Okay,
Because
sorry
I'm like
about
looking
that.
at my
Yeah,
town email, I'm
It
not
wasn't
seeing.
sent to the select board
It
email
was not.
address.
It was sent to the
okay.
5 members individually, and
Okay,
Yeah.
so I haven't had an opportunity to look at that, so, okay.
But, yeah, so this weekend, if there are any comments that people want to send to me with regard to
Okay.
that, we haven't sent it yet, and we won't send it. And as I said, we're going to re-vote it on our meeting on Monday.
Joe Makita, do you have any questions, comments?
I have a couple of questions. I have a few comments, but because of time restraints, I'm a little concerned about the fact that last year and the year before, prior to that, when this issue became to light, I had asked town council to look into certain matters with respect to that, and especially when it came to if Ashland had, or if Hopkinton had the ability to sell property that was in Ashland, and that was in Ashland. I'm still waiting for an answer. I'm still waiting for an answer, and that's the thing that concerns me about what's going on here. You folks have seemed to, you may have sat in town council and you've been provided some documentation or some follow-through. I wish the hell I had that opportunity to get that follow-through, because I'm still waiting for an answer.
So just to that point, though, Hopkinton didn't own this. It was a private owner, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
They
it's a
didn't
private
sell
owner
it.
who can,
So why didn't town council tell us that?
I don't know.
We,
I don't know about that.
I think we knew
Well,
it was.
we need to know
private.
that.
I think we knew it was private property, like, and even just this Ashland parcel, it's not town of Ashland property either, it's
Right, so
private property.
Hopkinton didn't sell the property. Hopkinton didn't own it to sell
Hopkinton
it.
took it as a gift. Like, instead of being donated to Halt, it
Okay,
was
so that-
donated to the town of Hopkinton. And then the A&R cleaved off the portion, the
And
1.83 acres that's in Ashland.
When those questions were asked, I'm still sitting here waiting for her response. You folks got the response, I didn't. And I'm sitting here like, okay, great, this doesn't, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm wondering if it was done through someone else and it just didn't get to you, Joe. That's the only thing I can think of.
And then we have a problem.
We do, but we also know,
a problem.
Joe,
Well,
We also know
the
that
issue for
happened
me,
with other
Mr.
things.
Mignani, is if Hopkinton owned land in Ashland, and I'm not sure that they do, I know that we own land in Hopkinton, we can sell that. This is not a matter of Hopkinton selling the land, it's Hopkinton's regulatory boards granting something that they don't have any jurisdiction over to grant. That land in Ashland, as small as it may be, they don't have any authority to zone our property. Exactly. And that's where
Hopkinton can't create parcels in Ashland. My mind wasn't
the
on it, so
nexus is
that's what-
that
yeah.
I believe the chair was referring to. How are we involved here? There's a whole lot of stuff that is probably uneasy, but it's outside of our jurisdiction. The fact that the Hopkinton Planning Board didn't bother to enforce the
initial
conditions of the special permit is not jurisdictional for us. But the fact that lots were created in Ashland and they approved it, that is jurisdictional for us. That's my argument.
so that's what, so just so I can clarify for myself. So what you're saying, Carl, is when they did the A&R in Hopkinton, and then it was decided to cut off the section that was in Ashland, that Hopkinton has no jurisdiction over what can happen with that property in Ashland. So at some point, something should have triggered to someone to say, okay, we're looking at this parcel with part of it being in Ashland. Someone should have said we should reach out to Ashland.
Exactly.
To determine what should happen with
Exactly.
this parcel.
And it's not the responsibility of Hopkinton to say
No,
that.
it's certainly
but
the landowner who should have done something, or the initial people who, because, right, the history that I'm looking at was this was tied to a solar project, and it was a different company, right? And then Agilitas, somehow
Mm-hmm.
they got the property, and they're now looking at what they want to do with it. And that's when all of this was triggered about a year and a half ago.
Yes, you're
that we
right.
were hearing about this and what was going on.
But isn't it just a parcel right now? I mean, isn't it
Yes.
just, I mean, somebody could sell me a piece of land in Ashland
Right.
that wouldn't necessarily be buildable, or it would just be a parcel.
You see, yeah, but it's the creation of
Right.
that lot. If I split my lot on Chestnut Street,
Yeah. Right.
I would have to come down here and say, I'm splitting my lot on
Right.
Chestnut Street.
Right.
And they could say, and they would, you can't do that because you don't have enough frontage. But even, let's say that my lot had extra frontage, and I wanted to divide it. I would still have to show up at the planning board and say, I'm filing an A&R here, and I'm creating a new lot. Not only did they create a new lot, they created a landlocked, unbuildable lot. That's the second little small lot there. This is just a matter of notice to the town of Ashland. A
So-
courtesy, but it's also a legal courtesy.
So if that's the crux of the issue, what are we asking them to do? Or what are we, like?
Right.
What can we
because-
do? What's
Because
the-
if they didn't give us notice and there's this parcel and it's been created, like, I guess, like, you know, what now? We're not
Well, that would-
gonna get it donated to another, we're not gonna get it donated to Halt, we're not gonna get it, we're not buying it, you know? like,
Halt would be willing to accept it.
But I
and
don't
it-
think that's, like, the
Didn't sound like
plan
it
is
was willing
In the
to
letter,
now.
yeah,
So
in
I
the
think-
letter,
I think
Agilitas
that-
definitely
I don't
doesn't
think
want to
that
do
that's
that.
on the table. So
Well,
I guess
you
the-
see, it was on the table during the discussions with Michael Herbert and Agilitas.
Okay, yeah.
We talked, they said, well, we have this, this agreement, and we said, well, how do you get out of this agreement? And they said, well, there's an expiration date. And then they said, well, what would we do then? And I said, we'd have to find some way to make all the parties whole. And that's where we left it, that we were going to think of making all the parties whole. What happened between that discussion and the receipt of this letter, I have no idea. So there is a possibility. I've spoken with Halt. Halt is angry about this, too.
Oh, I'm
This
sure,
is,
yeah.
this is, Claudia, you asked me earlier who owns the trail. It's part of the Halt Trail system. And so there are numerous landowners. This goes all the way, on both sides of Cross Street, all the way up through the Hopkinton State Park. And it goes through Legacy Farms. It goes through some Halt property. It goes through some private property. And all of those trails, as we've tried to work when working with the Upper Charles Trail, of getting easements from people that this trail can go through their property. And there was an easement from Liberty Mutual, that's an old trail there that's been there for a long time. It's not just a deer trail that somebody said, hey, here's a trail. That's part of it's part of the Halt Trail system. And it connects both sides of Cross Street, and that's where it crosses, is right there in Ashland. And granted, it's the Hopkinton Area Land Trust, and most of this land is in Hopkinton, but some of it's in Ashland.
So does Halt currently have an easement? Do they currently have control of that easement for the trail in Ashland?
As far as I know, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Because if that is protected, I think that is what we're really concerned about, is
Yeah,
protecting
whether
that trail.
whether it's a legal easement that was created and memorialized,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, because I think that's a good question. I think, like, to find out what kind of control is on that trail, because I think that's the concern for the residents that abut the property, and to be able to have access to it, and if it's still accessible, even if that parcel gets sold, I think that's an important part.
It's an important part, except the trail goes right through the middle of this property, so it's not going to be accessible. But I think that from a legal perspective and from Ashland's perspective was Hopkinton allowed, or was Agilitas allowed, or together to create lots in Ashland without notice to Ashland? That's the crux of this. And if somebody with more expertise and more clout than me can say, yes, they can do that, then that's fine with me. I don't agree with that from my perspective. And when you said it's confusing, it is confusing. Mm-hmm. This is a gray area, but a lot of land use issues are gray area. And the reason that we're standing up for it is nobody else seemed to be. Somebody, I guess it was Claudia, said that we wanted to get this straightened away. I'd like to get it straightened away. I don't have any dog in this fight, other than I live in this town, I'm on the Conservation Commission, and this was supposed to be conservation land in Ashland. That's my only connection to it. I don't live over there. I think we've been very protective of our trail systems and supportive of our trail systems in this town, and I think that we continue to be. And so I think that that from that perspective, we have a dog in the fight. But from the fact that these lots were created in Ashland without any oversight from Ashland gives us a legal dog in the fight.
Thank
So, well, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak for half an hour. I'm sure I probably put everyone to sleep here in the audience, but maybe if we can get to the root of this, we can stop talking about this. So we would appreciate that.
Maybe we could sit down with town council and you, and then, I mean, you seem to be one of the most knowledgeable people about all of this. And I would like to see, that discussion.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't want to bring this up, but there's an issue with this being a Hopkinton issue and an Ashland issue in us sharing town council that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. We went through this with 10 to 60 Main Street. We have a difference of opinion on what's a conflict of interest. I feel that it is. I think if we could get an independent third party to weigh in that we both would acknowledge, that might be better.
But I would like to see you sit down with our town council as well and have the discussion, and at least see if there can be some solution that works well for the town and works well for the neighbors. Because, I mean, obviously, we would love this to be open space, just like Claudia said. But we want to go about this in the right way, so.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
And I would like to get out of the middle of it, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
But I worked, and Michael, I think, would corroborate this. I asked him to get council involved in this for like 2 months, and we got nowhere. And part of the reason we got nowhere is because there was this, at least perceived, issue of her law partner representing Hopkinton. And there's been certain things that were said, that somebody said this, and then other people denied that they said this, and that just creates the confusion that I'm uncomfortable with.
I hear you, and I'm just going to kind of like, let's, move away from that part of the conversation. If we can get you and our town council together, possibly before our next meeting, that would be great, because I think then we would have sort of a path forward for a recommendation for us, for it be able to.
I think you can sit in the same room with our town council and have a conversation and be able to walk away going, no, or walk away going, all right, I understood that point. I think that could happen.
Oh, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And did you have a question, Yolanda?
Yeah, I just wanted to verify, so I'm looking, I like to look at the maps and see what's going on. So the zero Tri-Street,
Cross Street.
I'm sorry, zero Cross Street, yeah, sorry, Ron.
There was a zero.
There was a
Tri-Street.
zero Tri-Street, different thing. So zero Cross Street is, I'm just trying to figure out what side of Cross Street it's on.
Well, if you go down High Street,
Yep,
High Street kind of becomes Cross Street at that intersection,
yeah,
which actually was news to me. And you start towards Hopkinton? Yes?
okay, because
You there yet?
I put zero Cross Street in the map, and it's showing me the intersection of Cross Street and Howe.
Oh, the zero Cross Street, zero anything doesn't show up on the map.
So,
Okay,
Carl, in terms of, maybe this would help. So if you are on Cross Street, there is a right where they kind of.
Where it
intersect
becomes-
there, right?
Where you go down
There is
High
a
Street,
home on one side of the street.
Yep.
And there is a garage on the other side of the street, right? And so where is it in relationship to?
it's on the same side as the house going towards Hopkinton. And it ends at the Hopkinton border. And then it extends backwards from there.
Like a little gate area.
Yep.
That's where that property is.
Well, on the same side as that.
On the same
Yolanda, if you didn't get my letter, you didn't get the map.
no,
No, you should go to that map.
okay.
so when you have a chance, because it's very clearly shown there.
Okay. I will do that.
Thanks, Carl.
Okay?
I just wanted to, I know we have some other audience members here. Is there
Okay,
anybody
thank
else
you very
that
much.
wants to speak tonight?
And add anything new or different from what we've just talked about.
Earl was very eloquent about it. My neighbor, Jean, was here. She's from Hopkinton. And unfortunately, some of my other neighbors had family plans or whatever, or they're on vacation and they couldn't be here. But I just wanted to let you know, it's not just a Susan issue or a Tony issue. I've talked with a lot. Oh. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Okay. I've talked with a lot of our neighbors, walking down the street and whatever, and everybody that's heard the story is universally in support of keeping the trails there. So I just wanted to let you know it's a community issue. The other thing is, speaking about Hopkinton, I mean, the special permit is still in effect. It was registered, it's with the Registry of Deeds, so that's what, those terms are what govern this property. So I guess the question was, can the town identify the planning board meeting, the date, the vote, the recorded decision, the special permit amendment or permit modification that expressly removed the Ashland parcel from the open space and protected land under condition 28 and 29 of that permit? I don't think it exists. And if no such planning board action exists, on what legal basis would the town of Ashland treat that property as unrestricted development land rather than subject to the open space obligations by the special permit? It's still governed by the special permit. And I think, Carl, you had said to me that A&R, it doesn't supersede the special permit. So it's still in effect, it still governs that land, it runs with the land, I think is the legal term. So it's not a developable, I can't talk, piece of land. So those are some key questions to keep in mind.
Thank you. All right. I do see Brian Forrestal has his hand up. Brian, if it's a quick comment or question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Hopefully. Maybe. Almost. There we go. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Hi, thanks for letting me in. I just hope the town will do whatever they can to try and save that parcel from being developed. It's a key piece of property there, and I've worked with HALT in the past. They're a great organization to hold land for us here in town. So I just wanted to weigh in with that.
All right, great. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, if we have no other further comments, questions, we will move on in our agenda tonight. Thank you, Carl. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much. And I really appreciate, people who work to do the right thing, even when they don't have a dog in the game. I always appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is discuss and vote on regional collaboration letter and decide which communities will be included in the distribution of the letter. And I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Claudia and Yolanda, maybe? Okay.
Yeah, so I just wrote a letter asking people or asking other communities to join us. And I know, Yolanda, that you are a member of several groups, including the Metro West Regional Collaborative, thank you. Would you have a suggestion? Would this be something you would want to bring with you to a meeting? Would you suggest that we send it?
I think it's something that we can send out once we finalize this. I think I can use the email distribution list that I have, sending it out to all the select board members of the other communities. There's 8 other communities. There's 9 other communities that we can send this to, and we can do it from the board and send that out. I think we can do that, and then I would also then look at doing the other towns surrounding us. So Hopkinton is not part of the Metro West Regional Collaborative. They're in another collaborative. I could certainly look at sending it not only to the Metro West Regional Collaborative, but I could look at Swap and Magic were the 2 other ones that sort of we have sometimes done stuff with for the regional, for the
You have,
Metro West Regional
email
Collaborative.
lists for
I
all of
can
them?
get email lists for all of them, and I would only send it to the select board representatives for each of the towns, not to the full email distribution list. And to that point, I would recommend that we find out who the state reps were for all of those towns and cities, because like Marlborough is a city and they're part of our group. So not just Jack Patrick Lewis, who is our rep, but specifically call out the state reps for all of the cities all the cities and towns that we decide to send this letter to. That would be one of my recommendations. The other thing, and again, I thank Claudia for doing this, is look at, some of the wording on the timing, because we now have a new budget. They did make some changes to UGA. They did the unrestricted aid. They did make some changes to school funding. It's now 160 per pupil. They are going to fully fund their portion of circuit breaker, which we still all know is a joke. And then, on my update, I have something to share with everybody. So I think it's definitely ask them to get involved, and then the next step is just some of the timing, like get this out now with a follow-up in January, when we start looking at our next budget cycle.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments?
I think we discussed it earlier, and I think it's a great idea. Follow up on it and strengthen numbers.
The only thing I would think to add maybe is something, because we say what we're asking, and we ask them to review the advocacy letter and consider this initiative at your next public meeting, vote to authorize, blah, 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 notify us of your decision. What about like pulling together a meeting of all these folks so we can discuss the issues and brainstorm and come up, because it's really, I think it's going to be much more than just sending out a letter. I think it's really going to be like, what the communication plan is, like how do we involve MMA in this? How do we involve the media in this? I think it's going to be a much, how do we involve individual communities? So it's not just the select boards of these towns.
I was thinking maybe we might want to involve school committees as well.
Yeah.
Because, school committees are very powerful within the state and certainly are very sensitive to funding matters, right?
Yeah, so maybe something about like joining a coalition, working towards, or some language in there about that, maybe. You kind of know where I'm going with that.
Yep.
Right? Just something more to take action over over this next year or something like that.
Well, we have some time to work on it, I think, seeing that with some of the changes that have been made already.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through our budget
Yeah.
and stuff, what the implications of
Correct.
the governor's budget looks like.
So I'm sure the other towns will be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So that gives us a little time to,
yeah. But
tweak what.
But it'd be good to mobilize people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean, Yolanda and I were part of a six-town group that met quarterly.
I think.
It was quarterly, and it was great. I mean, they all have the same issues, just different faces, but the same issues.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed, so I think it's a great idea.
And then, I mentioned we need to do all the reps for all the
Yep,
communities.
yep.
We also need to do all the senators, right? Because they're not all covered by
Correct.
Karen.
Right.
Yep.
So as far as next steps with this,
I can pull together the list, and I can reach out to the MAPC to get the full list of all the select board representatives for all 3 regions.
okay.
And then, can we ask Susan to send this out as a group from our select board email? I mean,
We can send out.
yeah, we could
Yeah,
send
that's,
we're
that's,
not-
that's,
we're
that's
not-
allowable.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
We
allowable.
do stuff through our town, stuff like that.
I'm
Yeah.
always so
No,
hesitant to say.
No, we're working on a multi-town
Yeah, it's a multi-town
coalition
thing,
Okay.
right.
to advocate for our communities. I think that should be okay. And then,
Do we want to put a date on here? Because it says notify us of your decision by date.
well, I think we have to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
And then the next step would be, right, we have this, because do we have, is this this is just the letter to the community saying, do you want to join our coalition? And send a letter. This is not the letter that we're then sending.
Right.
So we're looking for if they want to participate in the coalition. And then the next step would be getting people together to say, okay, here's a draft. Do you want to have a discussion and get it sent? Right, so I think if they let us know by the middle of August, and then if we want to do a joint committee meeting with all these different people, try to book something for September. And my recommendation for that would be, we look at a date and say, this is the date we're doing it, whoever can join us in person, and we can do it by Zoom as well. I think that makes the most sense, rather than saying, well, when can you meet, and when can you meet, and when, that makes no sense at all,
No.
so. But, thank you, Claudia, for
Yep.
putting this together. I
Good.
greatly
It was a good
appreciate
letter.
you jumping on that.
So we feel pretty good to go ahead and send this out?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure we're,
just the
Yeah,
date
we're good.
would be,
We're
I
good.
think by the middle of August, to let us know if they'd want to participate, and maybe even we give them a date of when we're looking to bring everybody together.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I would think we want
I think if
that
we
in
can
there.
if we can look at a date to determine that.
Yeah, maybe we look at maybe late September, early October, so people have a chance to
Get back into school
into
and
the
stuff.
swing of
Yep.
things, and then
And then
but
it's, we're
before they
getting,
get
yeah.
involved in everything else.
The other part of this is, as the Mass Select Board Association, we're in the process of planning our fall in-person session. Last year was when they did the report on the fiscal cliff that the MMA created. So it could be something where I could try to tie into a coalition of towns that are attending that as well, if people are comfortable with that. And that is, I think, I don't know if we have a date yet, but I think it's sometime in October. I can find that out and let people know.
Okay, all right.
Maybe I can sort of get this on as an agenda item even
Great.
at that
would be good.
That would be great.
because we're in the process of planning it now. Okay.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
That gives you plenty of time.
That would
Yeah.
be a great time to be able to talk to a lot of people.
That's a big reach.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, so we'll get this sent out. Once we get Yolanda's list,
Yep.
we'll plan to get it back by the middle of August and be able to put together a date for
Yep.
that initial meeting. Okay, sounds good. All right. I just don't want to have the same conversation in 2 weeks.
No. No.
Thank you.
Not that we ever do that.
Not that we ever do.
We
No.
never do that.
Never.
Okay.
Perfect. Great.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Yolanda.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, guys. All right, next item on the agenda is update on the Douglas Road and Greenhalgh parking issue. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Mignani, who's,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Been busy.
Real briefly, I did have the opportunity to meet with the site manager. Her name is Danielle for Charlie Zambuto. I was at 12 Pond Street, walked around, explained to her the problems that we're having, showed her the photographs. She absolutely understood what was going on and why we were there. Mr. Zambuto has explained that they plan on adding additional parking for patrons in the back part of that building. They have some landscape area there. They were going to cut some landscape area out and make additional 4 or 5 parking spaces, so that way patrons for the coffee shop and or yoga gym area could park there, or better still, folks that are using that location can park out back and then have the patrons park a little closer to the building instead of parking on the sides of the road. We're meeting in August. The Roadway Traffic Study Committee we didn't meet in July because the vacation schedule was kind of crazy. So we're meeting in August, and in August, we plan on talking about painting the curbing that are on both sides of Douglas Road and Greenhalgh Road yellow. That is a sign that indicates that you can't, excuse me, you can't park in that area, in that location. It's a state color, it's a bright yellow. So there'll be no parking there. And we're talking about putting additional no parking signs along one side of the road. That's to be determined. So today I was thinking about what Framingham does and some other towns. They do odd even parking. So And I think I emailed
Yeah,
you guys that, those suggestions, and we're gonna be bringing that up. That way, one side of the road, either Green Hills or Douglas Road, the residents won't be, targeted per se, that, why, we can't park here, we can't park there, so if we do it odd even, I think that's fair and equitable. So we'll see how that goes. But I know that Danielle was very, very cooperative. They were gonna put additional signage on their buildings with, areas to show where people need to park and not alongside the roadways, which was jamming up the area so that buses couldn't get in. And when I spoke with Chief Roby about it, he drove down and he immediately said, yeah, there's a problem. He said, we can't get fire access vehicles down there, especially an ambulance, if the neighbors park on both sides of the road, because that's a narrow roadway. So, and I think the idea of going odd and even may be the best way of doing that, and.
Is she willing to do a communication to the residents?
Oh,
of the-
absolutely.
Okay, because I
Yep.
think that's like a big thing
Yep.
too, is just to make sure that the residents that live there are aware of the issues. so
They
that
want to be,
don't do-
they want to be good neighbors.
Yeah,
That was one of the first things that Danielle said. She says, we're sorry. She says, we didn't realize this was happening. And part of the issue was that the folks that were finishing up creating that new coffee shop there, it was the builders that were parking right alongside this so they could get their equipment in and out and not find a place to park. So they just kept their vehicles there, which was causing some of the issues. So those trucks that you saw that I gave you photographs of earlier, those were all the construction site guys that were there. So she promised, as a matter of fact, after we get done talking, she went inside, she said, you guys need to get these vehicles out of here, they're causing a problem. I said, you don't have to do that for sure for me, but, tomorrow or the next day, make sure they find another place to park. And they did. They parked across the street, which was fine, so it worked out pretty well.
Just one comment/concern. So I know that when this went before the planning board, there was a lot of things done about making it look pretty and having greenery and stuff like that. So if they're gonna be pulling out some of the things that gave it some buffer, is that gonna be an issue?
No, the back part of the parking lot, which is on the Douglas Road side, it's all brick and stones. So there's no trees or bushes or anything like that beautify that area. So they were just gonna clear that area out and put it's gonna make at least 4 more parking spaces. So it's not a whole, the delineation of any and all the vegetation that they already planted up in front and around the building. So,
Okay.
yeah, and we did we walked all around the building.
So when you started talking, you were saying about painting the curb yellow? What curb was that? And that would be, nobody could park there?
Yeah.
So where would that be?
So that would be, so when you're turning from 126 onto Douglas and or Green Hills,
Yeah.
those 2 curbs that that abut 126, there should be no parking there anyway.
Yeah, right,
because
because there's a certain number
Right,
of
a
feet.
certain
from
number
the
of
It's
feet
20
from-
feet, it's gotta be 20 feet, so
Oh, okay.
you add
So
that-
that's where was that
Right,
paint?
yes.
Because then I didn't
okay.
understand then how you were getting to.
How are you gonna do odd even if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
everything's painted
yeah.
yellow?
Perfect,
Okay,
thank you.
so just 20 feet back from the intersection.
which is
gonna be
state.
painted yellow so that there's no parking for
Correct.
anybody there. Okay.
Yep. So that gives,
Because it always gives trucks or larger vehicles the
Right.
ability
To turn.
to
School
turn
buses.
in, that's it,
Especially school
exactly.
buses. People
Yep.
don't realize school buses sometimes are
They have to make that
harder
turn.
to manipulate than a
Yeah. And
truck, because the truck often has the bend, and
Yeah.
where school buses don't bend.
don't bend that easy, no.
They don't bend at all.
One follow-up question. So Joe, you were mentioning that you might change it to do odd even parking one side or the other. So that's something that would have to come to us
And
to
I
approve.
put that on, I put
Okay.
that, I put that on
And
the
then we'd
email.
want to, do a lot of communication and education out to the residents. And we're going to do that all the way down both roads, right?
Correct, correct.
Odd, even, and I would recommend we also do it on
Brackett Road.
Brackett Road.
Yeah.
So that it's consistent through that whole neighborhood, what the parking situation
Yeah.
is. That would be my recommendation.
And the odd even, at least in Framingham, is if it's an even numbered year, you can park on the even side of the street. If it's an odd numbered year, you park on the odd numbered side of the street. So it would be that.
Oh, okay, so it goes by year, not by the day itself, okay.
Well, I mean, I think it might be easier by
I
the.
think it would
Yeah,
be
maybe
easier
year.
by
Year.
year, because if it's
Okay.
every day, that means you're moving your car every day from one side of the street to the other, and,
That's actually a
you know,
good-
now
that's
it's the
actually a good-
31st, and then it's the 1st, oh, I don't
Pretty sure
have to
that's what
switch.
Framingham's is. They
Yeah.
have.
So
they have
maybe let's
signs
double
on-
check that,
Yeah, I'll
so that
double
it's
check that.
consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I can ask. Yep, not a problem.
Just a quick question. Do you know, like, when this was in front of planning board, they have those lifts in the garage?
They do.
Are they using them?
They are.
They are. Okay, so they're being,
They are.
they're filled and they're being used.
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, that's
Yep.
good to know. Okay.
Yep.
It's like a stacked parking.
Stack parking. Yeah.
Isn't that so it gives each apartment more space, so here's my parking spot, and it has a lift, so I can put my one car in, it goes up, and I can park under it.
Yes. Yep.
That was a big, that was a big move
that
for
is pretty
Ashland.
cool.
Yeah, they do that a lot in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be on the tour.
Great. It was, because that was the first time I saw it. I said,
If
wow.
someone with a raised hand, I don't know if what,
James, we see you have your hand raised. If you want, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and
if it's related to this conversation.
give a comment or ask a
Douglas Road
question.
resident.
Introduce yourself first.
Yeah, introduce yourself, please.
Great, I appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is James Bazaz. I live at 6 Douglas Road, and I also own 4 Pond Street. So I have probably the largest property frontage that abuts the 12 Pond Street, and so I've been here for substantial before the construction, and I've talked to Charlie Zamuda before and during construction, but it's more of just I would love to be more a part of it. I apologize for being late to this discussion if it was a part of other meetings, but just sharing my concern of both day-to-day parking with the new cafe coming in, as well as overnight parking and what is being used basically across the street, but on the street against the sidewalk, which does create, it tends to create some type of, bottleneck within Douglas Road. So just trying to just add to the conversation, and I'd love to work towards a, a mutual agreement that would work correctly. And obviously there's some anxiety of both my tenants that live at 4 Pond Street that originally parked on the street next on Douglas Road, but on the 4 Pond Street side, that now they park, I now have like just separate parking for both of their vehicles within the parking area of 6 Douglas Road. So they're completely off the street, but it's, again, just more of the concern of the bottleneck of people parking on both sides of the road. And also at night, there's definitely tenants that I think have their own business that they park multiple construction vans that are directly across from 6 Douglas Road or from like the entrance to my parking area. So it's, that's the other concern that I share, is just there are some tenants that actually have multiple vehicles that park against the 12 Pond Street side of Douglas, that will have multiple vehicles parked there. And then when they have their employees or people, they might exchange cars and move them in and out. So it's kind of used as a multiple parking area that you guys might not see all the time, because it's at the end of working hours and working days. And so those things are just trying to share my concerns.
I appreciate that, James. I will invite you. I'll send a letter to you, or if you,
Yeah, anything that you need, I can shoot my email over, and I share it openly. Like I work, I'm a captain on the Weston Fire Department, so I understand like the safety side of it, and I know a couple of the guys on Ashland Fire as well. So
okay.
James, real quick,
Yes.
this is Yolanda Greaves, one of the select board members. Did you hear our conversation, what Joe was talking about painting the first 20 feet to be no parking at all, and then potentially doing odd even parking so that only one side of the street can be parked on and the other side not at all? What are your?
Yes, ma'am.
And your thoughts
yeah, I
on
mean,
that?
I think, I essentially keep my tenants off of the street, altogether since, so I really, I do, my, just pulling out of my place is obviously, I guess the primary concern, but I do think that that is, that could be a good resolution to at least being able to turn onto the street. I worry more about further down the road that people park down towards my side, basically the islands on either side of the entrance to my property, or further down towards the other residents that people tend to park just along the roadway. So I think there definitely is a solution there, and signage and different, some type of solution having to do with painting, I think is a good way to start. I would love to be a part of the conversation. That's all.
Okay, I'll definitely send something along, Jim.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Joe, do you want James to reach out to you directly, to
Yeah,
your
you-
email,
Yep.
email you? 'Cause
Okay,
That might,
yeah,
that
I
might be
can-
good, because if you guys have a roadway safety traffic committee meeting.
In August.
It would be probably good to make sure that, James is
Oh,
aware of
well, that's
that.
why I wanted to invite
Yeah,
him to the
yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be great. I can definitely acquire your email through the town site, and I will just shoot you an email with my email and my phone number.
Very good. Sounds good.
Thank you so much, James.
Thanks,
for-
James.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
For
input.
sharing
Appreciate
that.
it.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So, and just one other thought too, depending on what the 12 Pond Street folks end up doing, they should probably check, just make sure that, like, our planning department is aware of those changes, like
Yeah.
anything that happens on the property.
Yeah.
Just in case there's something that needs to be done in front of the planning board, like, we don't want to get into a situation where,
Oh, no,
yeah.
I get it.
We've had those before.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yep.
So,
You create one problem and
right.
solve one and create six.
It's
Yeah,
more that if
Yeah.
it's a planning board issue, that the planning board
right, they have to make
has
that
the
decision.
opportunity to
Yep,
look at it.
yep,
So thank you, Joe, for working on that.
not a problem.
It sounds like it's going to be
Hopefully,
a better solution.
I think
for-
so.
For the residents that
I think
that
so.
live over there.
Yep.
So, good.
just to widen up, just open up the entryway
Yeah,
was a big concern. Donna Walsh is part of the roadway traffic study committee, and she's the bus
Nightmare for
coordinator.
buses,
Yeah, and
I'm
they have some
sure.
issues.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just ask how the lift thing works? So if you know, I mean, if you go in and you get lifted, then there's more parking up there?
Yeah.
So you have to move off the lift?
Yeah,
because
so
the
you,
lift's gotta
it's
go
like
back
double
down.
stack. It's like you double stack your cars.
Each spot has its own lift.
Okay, so what if somebody is below you and you're ready to leave?
Well, then they need
They
to
have to
move
move
their
up.
car, so you can lower the
That's-
lift so it can pull
Well,
out.
that's problematic, isn't it?
Well, I think the idea was if one unit had two cars,
the two.
they would
Right.
be able to, it's like having a driveway, a single lane
gotta move your
driveway.
Cars around.
Yeah.
It's car bingo. Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you can go take a look at it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna.
I was going to say, guess where Claudia's going to be tomorrow?
Get on the lift and go.
Okay. All right. If we have nothing else on that, we'll move on to
Good.
our agenda. Discuss the Kitty Fenwell Car Show on September 12th, 2026, and the sponsorship. So in our packet, we have the flyer that we've
Yep.
all come to know and love. The show is going to be on the September 12th from 9 to 2 with a rain date of Saturday, September 19th. They do,
Hope it doesn't rain.
I hope it doesn't rain.
It's Ashland Day.
It is Ashland Day.
Wait, Ashland Day is the 12th?
No, the 19th.
Oh,
So-
okay. I'm like,
So,
We had that
so
before.
we're hoping for no rain on both the 12th
There
and the
you go.
19th.
There
is
you
what
go.
we're looking for.
That works.
And they did send some information. I know we've sponsored
always
them
sponsored
in
them.
the, yeah, we
Yeah.
sponsored them in the past. We don't have a vote on our agenda for it tonight, but I'm
Okay.
thinking if, like, it's a September 12th date, and if we decide that we're pretty much in favor of supporting it again, we can just put it on our consent agenda for the
For the
next.
Yeah,
fifth.
for the next
Yes,
one. Does that
I
work?
think so.
That
Yeah.
works for me.
I think the usual base sponsorship is $250
It's 250.
is what we've typically done.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then someone from our board can go and vote the pick a car or something, and I think it's a great idea. I think they do a great job with the whole event, and I forget last year, but they had a ton of cars last year. It was a beautiful day.
It was
They had this gorgeous VW bus that was,
flower power.
it was,
It brought
so
back
it's always,
memories.
Peter and his team do a great job. So yes, I'm fully in support of this.
And basically, the money that's, all the proceeds go to the American Cancer
Cancer
Society,
Society,
so
Yes,
it's a very
it's a great
good
event, yeah.
Hoping to
cause.
raise $30,000 this year.
That's their goal.
Yep.
That's their goal, so.
27 last year, so that's
So if you're
really awesome.
watching this and you want to be a sponsor of the car show, you can reach out to Peter Commission.
Yeah.
Comedian.
Comedian.
All right,
Little
so,
Peter.
does anyone have any questions, concerns
Nope.
about that?
We're good.
Okay. So what we'll do is we will plan to put the $250 on our consent agenda. That comes out of our select board gift account, just so everyone is aware of where that is
Yep.
coming from. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is a liaison update on the Upper Charles Trail, and so I'm going to turn this over to Miss Yolanda.
Yep, so Upper Charles Trail, things are finally moving forward. We have an agreement with Fuss and O'Neill. They are going to be our engineers to help us determine next steps for the trail, as well as looking at the engineering of it and what section and how much we do. We have a grant from the state to be working on this, so we need to get that done by the end of the year, so that's our goal. We have a meeting on July 23rd, I believe it is. So looking forward to that. It'll be myself as the liaison of the Upper Charles Trail, Diane, I would expect maybe Beth or Catherine, I'm not sure, and
Diane will be in.
Diane, okay. And then the consultants, and we'll talk through the scope and what we're gonna be doing. So after that, I hope to have another update for you as to how things are gonna be moving forward.
Great. Thank you for doing that. That's exciting
You're
stuff.
welcome. It's so exciting to
Yeah.
get this going. It's one of those projects we've been working on since I think started sitting here, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of what? Oh, until it's done? Oh, it'll be a while, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've
That's why,
heard,
all the more reason to say thank you, because sometimes it's hard to do things that take a long time.
my story to most people is, it took Holliston
I know,
20
I've heard
years.
that.
I've said it a couple times.
Yeah.
It took Holliston 20 years, and they had an empty rail bed. So,
I've used that story myself.
good, I hope you do.
All right. Thank you, Yolanda.
You're welcome.
Moving on, our next item is our consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Moving on to a town manager report. Ms. Beth.
So I am happy to report that the prevention, for the community center updates, prevention and human services teams have moved into their new office space. They seem to like it. The food pantry is kind of settling in. They're getting kind of changing maybe a few ways of doing things to utilize the space better. But I mean, it was nice. I was there visiting during the summer program, and there was easy access up the path without any sort of interference with the summer program with ARC. So as well as the recreation department, that I think the counselors are really loving the new organizational system that's there that we put into place, as well as the new art room. They got some cute little stools, and so I think it's being utilized quite a bit. So that's nice to see. Which means the next stop is the outdoor patio. So we've contracted an Ashland contractor. So it is a New Boston Landscaping and Construction. He lives here in town, and he will be working on that project starting the beginning of August. So I'm hoping that we can have some programming out there this fall, starting this fall. And it's going to be a nice patio with accessibility, as well as a pergola, the same pergola that's actually at the Arboretum with the shade above it. So, and we've ordered some patio furniture as well, a table and chairs. And then after that, once that is completed, then we'll move on to the great room floor replacement, thinking fall or winter. So we're just kind of doing one thing at a time, but we're getting there.
What's the time frame of the great room being from when you start to when it gets opened
Just a
again?
couple days. I don't,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
we
So-
didn't think it was an impact. I mean, we definitely have to work with them to make sure
Yeah.
there's no programming and, we'll do it in
Not
a
a big
time.
breakfast or
Right.
luncheon or something?
But it's
and-
not like week-long
Yeah, it's just
project.
it's just the floor, right?
yeah.
There's no other or
No,
are we gonna paint
just
or
the
anything
floor.
while we're in there? Okay,
Just the floor. Yep.
okay.
Yep. So that's community center update. Any questions? Any other questions?
No.
So when you pull that floor up, there's nothing underneath it since we had the water issue.
Yeah, floor damage or something that, bite your
You
tongue,
never know with that
Joe.
building.
Bite your
I know,
tongue.
exactly. Let's knock on wood. Next is the banner sponsorship program. So this was rolled out in the town manager newsletter on Friday, and this is something that the businesses have been asking us for. I mean, we've put up a lot of lampposts with banner holders, and now it's time to fill them. This is what the community wanted, and so we've put together a program that we think is fair and equitable. We think it will help sustain this project for a while. So basically, it's an opportunity for businesses, community groups, families, whatever they'd like, to basically sponsor this program where their name would be on a banner. And it would be $400 for a 2-year sponsorship. It would go up in the, I believe the dates or July. We'll have banners on from July through mid-November, taking them off so that we can make sure that we can put the holiday lights on the posts. I can't have both. And that's really it. We've so far, I think we put it out to the business community, and I want to say already 13 maybe is what I heard today. So there's definitely some interest for sure in this. They can have no more than 2 each. And then there's 40 banner locations. That doesn't mean that there's 40 banners. That means we've limited it to 15 business ones and 25 on 126. Because we do want to have some welcome to Ashland banners. We want to have, so we have, there's multiple, I think there's 3 different banners. One will be the business name, and then another will be welcome to Ashland, and then another, I believe another one is stay, play, and dine. So we've designed those.
I missed, did you say stay, play, and die? Or stay,
Dine.
play, and
Dine.
Dine.
Dine, oh, okay.
Just like on the form, it says shop, dine, play.
Yes. Oh, maybe that's it. Shop, dine, play. That's
Okay.
it. Sorry. I got him in the wrong order. Close, close. So we are limiting it to 40 banners for business names or
All I can
community
say is
groups.
that is very inexpensive.
Well, thank you.
I'm like, I was looking at that and I was reviewing it with someone who does marketing and signs and stuff, and they were like, wow,
Yep.
only $400 for 2 years to have your signage up there? That's like,
Well,
are
we
covering our
figured, you know what, for
costs?
2 years, they won't fade in that time frame. It's not
Okay.
up all year long.
Okay.
So it's, and we're trying to limit it to, so that we only have so much capacity in DPW.
Right.
They really would love a new bucket truck that they could do this a little bit more
course.
efficiently. But this, we've had plenty of meetings with this with our staff and with our economic development director, and we really felt like this was a good price point. I work with Scott Chalmers from Spyglass Printing, another Ashland-based business. So he's working with us and really doing a great job in trying to keep the costs low. So,
Good.
yeah.
And it'll have the Ashland logo on it?
Does not have, it does not have the logo on it. Well, actually, you know what? I can send you the mock-up. We have them in the office. You can pop by and see them.
One quick question, who has the final approval on, say, an individual wants to put up one?
It's only the name. They don't get to design the banner.
Oh, okay.
It's just the name.
It's
We
just the
have the
name.
banners already designed, and
Oh,
they are
okay.
ready to go.
Okay.
And some of them are already, the plain ones are already printed.
Yep.
We're just waiting for the due date to pass in August for them to sign up. We'll print the business ones, and then those will be going up
Okay,
in August.
thank you.
What
Thank you
if
for the
you get
clarification.
more requests than,
It's a first come,
What we
first
have.
serve basis.
okay.
Wow.
And it was interesting, there was an email or I saw something and someone's like, oh, we've done this beautification to our downtown, and now we're gonna clutter it up with signs, and I think we've been talking about signs for years, right? We did some before we started the downtown, and then we put the program on hiatus while downtown was being done. I think.
And those
we
were
did-
800. I did that banner program back when I
Yeah, when you first started, right.
And those were $800.
Yeah.
There were more times per year. So we did take that program and look at
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
And just simplified it a little bit.
And I think so many communities do it, and it's, I mean, we purposely,
Well,
we
there-
purposely bought poles.
Right, and
that
there
we
are
could do it.
banners if you haven't.
Yeah, there
I
are
hope
some
you've seen
banners
them.
on
Yeah, the
already,
4th of
yeah.
July.
Yeah, yeah.
We
They're
put those
nice.
up in May for Memorial Day.
Yeah,
This
they
is a
look very nice.
widespread practice across
Oh,
many
yeah.
communities, and they, they look good. I think it provides not just a welcoming atmosphere, but also gives local businesses
A way to
to
advertise,
advertise in a cost-effective manner that I think we can be proud of as a community.
So they're supporting the town.
Yeah.
Right, the
Well, and
businesses
they're,
supporting the
they're
town.
we should be
advertising.
supporting
They're
It's
advertising.
for them.
And-
I have
yeah.
one question, and I know it's not our signs, but on 135 on Main Street, there's a couple of light poles. Maybe they're not there anymore, but there was a couple of light poles on 135 that had banners on them.
The old, the pole.
The pole
The
banner?
Yeah,
wooden
we
poles.
did put them on 135, so maybe they just didn't
Oh,
get
they
taken
never
down.
got taken
They might
down.
just, there's one on Main Street too, and
okay.
I'm watching that one come down with
Yeah,
the pole.
I've seen those. Yeah.
So,
I think this is a great
So
thing.
before you move on, like, I was thinking, and I don't know if the board would be interested to do this, but I think it would be really cool if the select board did a banner. Like if maybe we did, to support these.
As long as it doesn't take away from a business that would want the
Yeah.
spot,
Yeah. Like,
right? I would say if at the end of your deadline, you say, you know what, we have one or two spots, then I would say, as a select board, let's put an Ashland select board up there. Let's spend some of our monies and buy one. But only if there's,
Yeah, we don't want to take away.
we don't want to
from-
take
No.
away from a
Right, sure.
business.
I agree.
Good point. Good point. Yep,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, first of all, before I forget, there is in-person voting for the primaries. It starts August 22nd. So early in-person voting starts
Okay.
August 22nd.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
sorry, I knew, I should have trusted my gut. I knew the answer and I didn't want to say.
That's okay. Always good to
So,
verify, then report.
exactly. Okay, another thing I wanted to bring to your attention to, that's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to let you know that we've been, our finance team has been working hard to go through some accounts, just cleaning up, really, getting their head around some of these. And one of them that popped out to us was an account that was used for the sign. Some of you will remember this. The Telecron building historical sign that Carl Hackinson had worked on in 2017. So there's a sign that's at the top of the building of the Telecron building at 200 Homer Ave. That was a project that Carl was a select board member at the time, had worked on. And that was based on donations, CPA funds, and the select board gift account. So all of those three things put into an account, $18,400. Well, the project was $17,056.41. So there is still a balance of $1,343.59 that is in that account that we think at this point, seeing as it's been there since 2017, we'd like to shift back into the select board gift account for the fact that that seems like the most natural place for it to be returned. And so I was just wanting to use this time to let you know that we were going to be doing that.
Well, one of the things that I would recommend, or I'd like you to look at maybe is, as you said, there were three groups that participated in part of that.
Divided up by three.
One of it was,
CPA funds was $1,500.
okay,
And then there were just donations. We don't
Right.
know where those came from.
well, I know a large majority of them came from Carl and his family. So maybe double check with them saying.
So that was $14,000.
Yeah.
Because the gift account was $2,900.
Yeah. So I would say, let's reach out to Carl and say, we have this balance. Right now, we'd like to put it back into the select board gift account, or we can split it 3 ways or 2 ways or something like that. I think that would be the appropriate thing to do, if there's money left over. Anyone else?
No, I have no argument with me. That works for me.
Terrific. And then lastly, the Cultural Council is working on their second traffic box artwork project. So they'll be starting their second one. It is actually going to be decorated by an Ashland High School student. And this is going to be overseen by Tara Bellata, their grantee. So they're going to start the prep work soon. The traffic box itself is located on Route 135 and Summer Street. And the painting should take approximately 3 weeks to complete. So
Oh, good.
just wanted to make you
Nice.
aware.
Do we have a
Yes.
tentative design as to what it's going to look
I
like?
haven't seen anything yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Do
can't
we
remember
approve
if they.
those, or do they just
No,
do
they,
them?
they do, they approve those, I think they approve those
Cultural
at
Council.
the Cultural Council. The last meeting I was at, because they broke for the summer, I think I was at a June meeting, they were discussing this. And they were discussing the design, so,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, I thank Donna Bresnick for just reaching out and letting us know. It's just good
Nice.
to know, so.
Oh, yeah.
So we can alert,
Yeah.
everyone that needs
Well,
to
I
know.
know there was concerns about the kind of paint and what it might do to the electric box, and I
Exactly.
take it all that's been
Yeah,
resolved.
all
and
resolved.
Yeah.
They
no
were great to
issues.
work, yeah, they were
That's
super
awesome.
receptive. I went to one of their meetings. It was great. Yeah,
Great,
Yep.
nice to see.
yep.
I'm glad that's getting started.
Yeah.
That's it from me.
That's it from you, okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
We are moving, thank you very much. Sure. We're moving on to board reports. Joe?
Oh, real quick, summer concerts are in full swing. All I can say is that the rain god has hopefully gone on hiatus.
For
Because-
Tuesdays, not all the time.
Yeah,
It needs
not
some
all the
rain.
time. It's just, anyway.
It's
we're-
like all the time.
It's either that or the heat, one of the two. But we had one last night, and it was a great concert. The band they're new. They were phenomenal. Fortunately, had about 50, 55 people show up in that heat. God bless them. But it was going on ground. So we'll continue every Tuesday night, right up until August. So we're working on that. So we appreciate that, and thankfully to the folks of the BAA grant that help pays for a good portion of the bands. They're not cheap anymore. They used to be. They used to play for free, but not anymore. Like anything else. We will have, Roadway Traffic Safety Committee is on hiatus for July. Everybody's on vacation. We just couldn't get together. And same way with the Council on Aging. We'll be meeting up, starting again in August, which is good. And looking forward to seeing how that patio comes out, because I can't wait to see it, because they have some ideas of what they want to do and how they want to honor some people with that, so it ought to be pretty cool. So I won't mention anything right now, but just, they're talking about it, so hopefully it'll work out well. So I appreciate that, and,
Well,
yep, go
question
ahead.
on that.
Yep.
If they're looking to honor people, is it the kind of thing where we'd want to like sell bricks or something, or sell something that people can donate? I don't know if it's too late for that.
Yeah, because we're using patio, it's like, they're not,
Yeah, it's
bricks.
not a
It's not a
brick,
brick
yeah,
patio.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind.
Yep.
Sorry.
And finally, what was I going to tell her? Oh, no, that's probably it. I think that was it. Other than that, and go Red Sox. That's all I can say. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Yolanda, you're up.
Thank you. So yesterday, I am a member of the Mass Select Board Association. I think I'm District 3. I always forget, so it's different areas of the state. I should know that. But I don't get to often, but yesterday I took the opportunity to go and have our MMA meeting when I attended in Boston. It's always a great conversation. We heard about the new federal housing bill, bipartisan bill that's been passed, and there's a lot of good things on that that I think potentially could be beneficial to our community. And MMA is in the process of sort of parsing that out, and will be sending out information to cities and towns about what's been going on. Also, the budget got passed by the state, and that was nice to see. It was actually, it was signed.
Yes, she did.
So a little bit earlier than some other years, so that was. And then because I went in person, part of the meetings that we do is they call it LGAC, which is a horrible acronym. It's Local Government Advisory Council, and so all of us from the MMA boards that get to sit with the lieutenant governor, and they get to listen and hear things. And I was invited to speak about the budget, specifically about education funding. And I had a chat with Jim Adams, our superintendent, before I went in and said, okay, if you had the lieutenant governor's ear for a minute or two, what would you talk about? And he said, well, transportation and circuit breaker. So I had the opportunity to remind them that, yes, the state has committed to fully funding their percentage of circuit breaker, but it's, I think, still only 75% of your full circuit breaker amount. Oh, and I reminded them that it only kicks in after you've paid $40,000 for a student. So I specifically said to them, I said, so for Ashland, I know we have 2. I know we probably have more students that go out of district. We are responsible for the first $40,000. So that means for 2 students, we are responsible for $80,000 before anything from circuit breaker even kicks in. So I hope they heard it. I don't know if they'll do anything with it, but I appreciated having the opportunity to speak and bring that forward for Ashland. I threw it out there. We'll see what happens. Then I'm also, Metro West Regional Collaborative, sort of quiet for the summer. Been to the farmer's market a couple times. That's been going well. Participated in a garden club event. And I think that's all I got. I think that's enough.
Nikita, you're up.
Yeah, I did miss the historical commission meeting last night, but I have been in touch with the chair and getting some updates, so hopefully we'll have something at our next meeting to discuss. They will be at the farmer's market this weekend, though, at the table, so please swing by and say hi to them if you get a chance. And I, too, have been at the farmer's market and this summer, and it has been delightful. So I encourage all folks to get down there. Beth, thanks again for working with me with the ethical procurement folks, Citizens Group. Really appreciate your assistance on that. I know we've got more work to do, but just wanted to acknowledge that as we continue that process. And just an announcement about Ashland Community Band. Our summer band is practicing hard because they will be performing before the Red Sox game. I think they're playing Star Spangled Banner on the Wednesday, July 22nd game at Fenway Park. So if you have tickets, you will get a chance to see Ashland's finest playing our national anthem. So if folks get a chance to be there in person, that would be great. The 22nd of July, next Wednesday night. So go Ashland. And that's all I have for now.
Are you performing in that band?
No.
Oh.
But she's a good supporter.
And if I were, I wouldn't tell anybody about it. Because then people wouldn't watch.
Oh, man. Awesome.
I was
Claudia?
at a baseball game last night, a local students' baseball game, and one young gentleman there was going to be he plays the tuba in our summer band, and he's kind of a smaller guy, and he picks the tuba to play, and he does quite a job, I guess. And then one of the parents, who actually is a teacher, she also plays in the summer band, so they were talking about that last night. So good luck to them. And that's where I've been spending the bulk of my time is at my grandson's baseball games, and so my committees are on hiatus for the summer, and that's all I have. I do have one question, though. So, Beth, what do you think about sitting here all night long on a Wednesday night? I know you have a couple of times, but usually that's Catherine's job. Happy birthday to Catherine. So.
Yes, happy birthday to
Oh,
Catherine.
yes, happy birthday to Catherine. Absolutely.
Yeah, I gave her the night off. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for welcoming me, and I always feel like I'm a part of this team, so I appreciate that.
All good? All good. I really don't have a whole lot that I can report on. The one thing I do want to make sure, when we talk about when we have the finance folks come and do their couple hours with us, I do want to have us take a look at the budget again, specifically with the changes that have been, signed into to existence.
Yep.
So, yeah, because I think,
Yeah.
it'll be good to kind of get a better sense of where we are and what the budget looks like, so.
And have our finance peoples now brought that information in and updated our budget to reflect it?
Well, since yesterday?
Well, it was announced last week. Cherry sheets were available. Okay, if
Well,
not yet, but
we'll make sure we discuss it at
Yeah.
our next meeting, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I
what
don't
the
know.
process would be.
I
Okay.
think
I'm
they're
not sure they
working.
have the final numbers. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think
met
we're
with Stephanie a little bit to talk about some of the budget pieces on Monday, and I don't think they had the final numbers. I asked her
Yeah.
for ballparks, but that was it.
Yeah, they're
So-
working on it, though.
okay.
They've been working very hard.
I'm sure they have. So before the meeting, we'll be able to have that new budget line item.
Yeah, we'll have,
The cherry sheets are up.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what the,
Okay.
we'll figure out what the impact
Okay,
to Ashland
all
is,
right.
what we had budgeted for, what the current budget will look like. So
Okay.
we can make some plans.
Correct.
And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, which I'm surprised you didn't mention, was Ashland Day.
Well,
We had our first meeting.
we did. I did. It was a great meeting, to be very honest
It was a
with
good
you.
meeting.
It was a
Yeah.
very good meeting, and we've been playing, Ella and I have been playing tag, so we'll probably do a Zoom meeting amongst us, because she's traveling all over creation, God bless her.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the enthusiasm was just incredible.
Right. Oh,
It
yeah.
was totally incredible.
Yeah,
And
it's a
I
good
think
group.
that, yeah, it's a very good group.
Yeah. And Ella is like, the best thing you could do is give her the booths to manage and all of that, because she did such an
Oh, she did a
amazing
good job.
job last year.
Yeah.
She is incredible.
Yep.
And I would put my money on Ella Fong any day of the week.
Embrace and use that young energy, Joe. That's what I
Believe me,
would
I
tell
want
you.
to bottle it. I want.
Are signups available? I have had people ask me
Yes,
if they
yeah,
can
we're
sign
working,
up.
we're working on
with
the
form.
well, the form is all set. I would just, well, the site itself, so ashlandday.com site, I want to make sure that we do that, and then we get that properly done. And then I think Josh was going to do that for us, and I have to,
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
my
Josh.
Do you want to put the form out this week in the newsletter?
Yeah, that would
oh,
be
yeah, I
great.
can do
Yeah, that
that,
would be
yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
have-
somebody
I-
can send
I
it to
actually
me,
have-
that would-
I have 3 of them.
Yeah, that would be great if
I
you can send them.
have the booth vendors, food vendors, and truck food vendors. So those are the 3 that are out there, yeah.
And you've already got some people who have inquired about booths, right?
Oh,
And you're already
absolutely.
assigned some booths out too.
I
right?
have,
Yep.
the high school was very, very kind to, right before they ended, I received a huge envelope with all the requests.
That's great.
So, which is, that's so much easier doing it that way, and that was Mary Beth.
Yeah.
So she was able to get that, and I told Josh that, so it was good. One other thing I forgot to bring up, by the way, Madam Chair, was Lucky Farms is doing our annual corn
Oh, yes.
fundraiser.
Saw the
And
Signs are up.
we can't keep the corn, it's crazy.
What time day do you have to get there?
Yeah,
Well, let's put it this way, we pick up the corn at 10 o'clock. We're supposed to pick it up at 10 o'clock. We get it about 10:15, 11:30. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll be more than happy to throw it at you guys as I'm driving down the street to give it to you. It's crazy. The line is nuts. I started laughing. I couldn't believe it.
Wait, the line?
There's a line.
I love it.
There's a line. By 10:30, there's like 6 or 7 people waiting for the corn to come in.
So that's the trick. You got to get in the queue.
You gotta get it.
You got to get in the queue early, folks.
Get in the queue
That's-
early, that's it
the-
exactly.
That's the trick.
And the other thing is, if you're gonna buy more than 12, let us know in advance, that way we can get extra corn, so that way it doesn't run out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's good, because people have
You know.
cookouts and events
That's
and
right,
stuff
that's
like
it
that. And
exactly,
they try to, yeah.
So we put another sign out there that if you're gonna buy more than 12, let us know, and we'll just get a special order for you.
You'll bag it up?
Yeah, we'll bag it up, absolutely.
Oh,
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a great idea.
Absolutely.
Beth,
So-
you said you had a question?
I know, I'm sorry, to go back to the Ashland Day thing. How can people nominate people for Citizen of the Year?
They can email me.
Just email you
Email me.
directly? Okay.
They have to be Citizen of the Year, and we'll put it on the website itself, but Citizen of the Year had to do with volunteering and doing a lot for the town. Not, I mean, basically, that's it, someone that's worked hard in the town, volunteered their time, gave hours upon hours to the residents of Ashland, and didn't expect anything in return, type of deal.
Okay,
So,
Great.
So that's what it's all about.
Terrific.
And we have what it's all about, and I'll send that along too.
That would be great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
When
be
you
happy
do
to
your
that.
website, you should post previous
Winners
winners
and-
of both of those
Oh, yeah,
categories.
well, the plaques are right out here in the hallway,
Yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
you should put it
yeah.
on the website.
Yeah, we have a list.
And you'll send Beth the
Yeah, I'll
forms
send
for the
Beth that, yeah,
newsletter?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And can people apply electronically? Because I know they were able to do that last year. So are they gonna be able to apply electronically for booths and stuff?
Well, I have to sit down and coordinate that with Ella.
Okay.
But as of right now, yeah.
Perfect.
Right now, it's paper.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but Ella's working with Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
actually, I'm working for Ella.
Yeah.
That's,
I can help you.
okay.
So, but the next group meeting is on
Is
the
the 23rd.
23rd.
Yep, July 23rd.
So,
Yeah, at the Ashland Police Substation on Macapesca Plaza.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
all right, that is it for me. Does anybody else have anything, or could we get a
Motion to
motion to
adjourn?
adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Stay cool, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Our next meeting is going to be on August 5th. We are going to be starting at 5 o'clock with our finance group, and then our regular agenda after
Regularly
following that.
scheduled program.
Yes, so, thank you all. Have a great night and enjoy the summer. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.